Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to talk with you. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 864 of the Two Dum Yinzers. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Glad to see everybody back this morning. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. I went to one of the kids' chorus Christmas concerts last night, and I got to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to survive the weekend. I already got my throat scratchy. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. You go up there, there's hundreds of people. They're all sneezing and coughing and projectile vomiting everywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Glad to see everybody on the board. Welcome, 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 Tyrone. My God, what's up, brother? Always great seeing Tyrone. RB says this sounds really bad. He says, but I don't want to beat Baltimore. Wanting to this team to win just buys Mike more time, and there's no way this team is ever a league power. Never again under Mike. Sucks to say. Oh, we appreciate that, Tyrone. Thank you, sir. RB says this. Mike doesn't game plan to actually beat teams. Mike schemes to stay in games until other teams beat themselves, and you never are going to win a title like that. Tortilla, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Tortilla. My man, Tortilla Jackson on the board. What's up, brother? He says Mike's wife has a plan this week. Mark Malone, drink plenty of booze. Yeah. I just knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. What are you going to do? No good deed goes unpunished. It really doesn't. The amount of mucus, it was unbelievable. The sneezing, the coughing. I'll be dead by the end of the weekend. You watch. Tyrone, I agree. I think we are going to win this game. I truly do. I'm not just saying it to whatever. I do think we're going to win this football game. And I got to be honest with you guys. Let's start. I want to just start briefly. And I know he's not a Steeler, but did anybody catch the game last night? Thursday night football game? I realized a couple things from watching this particular game. I realized we're not going to beat Detroit. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This team is not the same team that they were. However, they're too good for what it is that we do right now, unfortunately. I mean, come on, Gibbs and St. Brown. I mean, it's truly, it's fun to watch what Detroit can do on the field offensively. They scare the shit out of me. However, I think that we could win the other 4 games remaining. I truly, honestly do. I don't think that it comes down to skill per se. I think it comes down to attitude. I think it comes down to mentality. I think it comes down to which team that they decide to field that particular day. Unfortunately, that's just the way the season's been. And this team, unfortunately, for the past couple of years, been the same way. But it is what it is, guys, and this is where we're at. We're in Week 14. We'll be facing off against the Baltimore Ravens Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. We do go into the game as 6.5-point road dogs. The Ravens are 6-6. We're 6-6. It's the biggest game of the year. No two ways about it. And what kind of game to have as the biggest game of the year, other than to have both teams playing like shit? Both teams beat the hell and back. But it is what it is, and this is going to be an classic AFC North matchup. I promise you. If anybody's, and I'm watching these analysts, and they're saying Pittsburgh has no chance, blah, 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 blah. We've been to this rodeo many a times. We've been to this rodeo, and we were good. Excuse me. And Baltimore wasn't. We've been to this rodeo, and Baltimore was good, and we wasn't. This is going to be nothing more, nothing less than an AFC North slobber knocker, if you will, for lack of a better term. And I think that either team, I think this is going to be a Ravens-Steeler game. It's going to be close. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be ugly. I think the team that wins is going to win by 3. I don't think the team with Derrick Henry is going to dominate. I'm seeing a lot of Lamar coming up out of the side of my eye on the board. I do want to address that Thursday, of course, they did mention on the terrible board yesterday that he did miss practice. He wasn't practicing yesterday. Lamar Jackson, of course. However, the Ravens offensive coordinator expects Lamar to play. And I'm going to tell you why this goes to our advantage here in a second. But let me grab a couple of these messages real quick. I don't want to get behind today on the Steeler Friday. It's Ravens week. It's Steeler Friday, guys. Let's get into it. Tyrone says, we're going to win this motherfucker. I agree with you, bro. I do. I think we were going to win this football game. Tortilla says, Mike Tomlin needs a bobblehead. Tyrone says, Lamar practices today. He's playing. Good afternoon, Lindsay. Always great seeing Lindsay on the terrible board. Hope all is well with you, ma'am. Ginger Joe says, even if Huntley starts, they'll have to stop Henry without Harmon. People have to step up. Tortilla says there's like 5 games that are practically playoff. Absolutely. And, and I realized that once I started looking at the pick'ems this week. I got my pick in yesterday, but I got to take a little bit more time. I'm not ready to make my picks for the week entirely this week yet. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But there's a lot of difficult games to pick this week. And I got to be honest with you, Tortilla. You're 100% right. A lot of these games have playoff potential. A lot of these games are going to have a playoff atmosphere. I think this is going to be a fun week for the NFL. And I do think that this is going to be a good week for the Steelers. I truly, honestly do. Mark Malone, what's up, brother? Always great seeing the great Mark Malone on the terrible board. He says Huntley would probably do more damage anyway. And my man Bingo, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Bingo Winchester on the terrible board. He says, guess they couldn't get Flacco back after all. I thought that myself. Why don't we go get Flacco? Seems to work for everybody else. Let him do his rounds in the division and win some football games, right? But guys, I do think that we have. I think we have an advantage actually. People are counting us out, and rightfully so. I'm not going to say that it's not warranted, but we could kind of come in with that chip on our shoulder. And it just depends on which group of guys want to walk out onto that field on Sunday. As I said yesterday, it's not an easy game to pick because you don't know if you're going to get Jekyll or you don't know if you're going to get a Hyde. However, I do think this is a winnable game. I do think we're going to win this football game. And the reason is the Baltimore Ravens are nowhere as good as what anybody says that they are. They have a lot of holes just like we do. And with some of these current injuries they have, I think that puts us in the right position, in a good position to win this football game. And totally makes, well, for one, Lamar's been out with this ankle. He hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, basically. He came out last week. He played. The last game he played like shit. Matter of fact, what do you have? Turned the ball over 5 times. The Ravens turned the ball over 5 times. He fumbled twice, threw a couple interceptions, and now they've had 10 days off, which sometimes is good. Sometimes you don't want the extra days off, especially especially if things are going good, which they weren't for them. But nonetheless, Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, which you seen that in the Cleveland game or the Cincinnati game. You really did. You seen it. The guy, for one, he don't run. He doesn't have his legs. That's numero uno. If you take Lamar Jackson's legs out of the game, you even the playing field. Plus, they're not quite what they were when he was younger. Plus, he's got the injury. So for these reasons, the X factor in the game a lot of times is Lamar. Albeit he hasn't had much success against the Steelers. A lot of times it goes our way when it comes down to playing Lamar Jackson. Again, I like our edge this week. I do. We're by no means healthy at all, but again, I still think that there's quite a few reasons that we're going to win this game this weekend. We'll get into that and so much more today, guys. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. Glad to see everybody today. Hope everybody's ready for the Ravens game because you know what? There's 2 days a year that is certainly worth being ready for, and they're both played in the NFL football season, and they're both between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. This is the most pure football game that I think that you could find in the NFL. When these two teams go out on the field, it's put money aside, put everything aside, and go out there and just play hard-nosed football. And a lot of teams don't even do that anymore. So, again, this game is always enjoyable. And, again, this game could be very enjoyable if these Pittsburgh Steelers can pull off a win in Baltimore. Nonetheless, then come home and get ready for a Dolphins team who's playing a little bit better. But, again, you win this game, who knows where it goes after that, guys. Let me just give you one quick fact out here early today. 20 teams right now out of 32. There's 32 teams in the NFL. 20 teams have a 500 record or better at week 14. That's tied for most all time. So if it's parity, if it's Las Vegas, whatever it is, this year's odd. There's no two ways about it. And it just makes you wonder why all out of a sudden all the good is bad and all the bad is good and everything's turned upside down. Many speculations out there, but that be what it be. 20 teams, 20 teams, guys, with 5 weeks left are at 500 or better. It's only been done one other time. So again, just I kind of put you in mind of what is going on this football season. Let's see what else is going on the board. Bingo says, guess. Okay, got that. Tyrone, Steelers versus the Ravens on CBS. Nice. Yinzer Joe, he says, USA Today says Lamar didn't practice today either. Tyrone says, Ryan, we've been playing better anyway this year. And then Lindsay says, I heard his injury was somewhat, someone stepped on his ankle at practice Wednesday. He's been out for a couple of weeks. He didn't practice all week going into the Bengals game. He's been out all week this week. I don't know. I'm not sure on the details. I don't know if he's got his foot stepped on. I don't know what it is. I just know that he's been injured. He's been hurt. He hasn't been practicing. He hasn't been playing. He came in last week against the Bengals. Looked like straight shit. Every time he got hit, the ball was on the ground. He threw the ball away a couple of times to the other team. And again, if we get anything, anything similar to that Lamar Jackson, I think we're in this football game. Mark Malone says a bunch of Tomlins with lesser front offices. Tyrone says he practiced today. And again, you know what? It's not Lamar that I'm afraid of. It's not Lamar killing us that I'm afraid of. Can he? Absolutely. Will he? I don't know. But it's just not what when I go into this game this particular weekend, it's not what I fear. You know what I fear in this weekend? I fear the Steelers just coming out and shit in the bed. That's what I fear. This is what I fear in order for the Steelers to win or lose. I think it comes down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to remember this team is 6-6, just like we are. 6-6, just like we are. And before I do go on, I do want to say this because I did start to mention it, and I changed the subject real quick. Last night, the football game, speaking of Steelers, George Pickens. If anybody caught this last night, you might be interested if you are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. But George Pickens last night was described by Richard Sherman as looking uninterested in football, disengaged, disappointed, and half-assed. And here's another thing you might want to consider. Everybody that's talking shit on us for giving up Pickens, oh my God, what a bad, terrible move. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Despite what I just said, the Cowboys are 6-1. So for anybody sitting over there on the other side in Cowboy land going on about this, your team is no better than ours. And have you seen our offense? And from what I understand, Dallas is one of the better offenses in the league. So you have one of the better offenses in the league. You have George Pickens, and we're so stupid for giving him to you, but we literally have the same exact record. And again, have you seen our offense play football? Yes, he's very talented. Yes, I understand. Yes, it would be nice to have him. Totally agree. But again, to describe him last night after the game, uninterested in football, he appeared disengaged, half-assed. So again, he's George Pickens. You're going to get what you're going to get. And again, Dallas is 6-1. If this team was looking good, and again, they have one of the better offenses in the league. So again, I just wanted to point that out. Dallas loses that game. Detroit wins 44-30. We got Detroit in here in a couple of weeks. I'm convinced that this team is going to be almost impossible for the Steelers to beat just by the matchups. I started watching the all 22 of the Buffalo Steeler game last night, and I can't imagine that we're going to beat Detroit. But luckily for us, there are 4 winnable games in this remaining part of the season. And it all starts this Sunday. And I do think we win this Sunday. And I think the formula is actually rather simple to win this Sunday. It's just all going to come down to execution and the mindset of this team that comes out on the field on Sunday and whether they got it or not. Whether it's, as I said yesterday, it's a fork in the road for the team. We're at a big fork in the road. We could come out this weekend, lose, and it could fall apart. It could all fall apart. Miami game could become a disaster. Detroit right after that. You see what I'm saying? So, if you lose, then you got another night game next week, albeit it's Miami. But again, 0-3 so far this year in primetime games, and then that followed up by a Detroit Lions game. It could get ugly pretty quick. So again, I think that the Steelers, this is a must win. Literally, no. Figuratively, absolutely. And you just have to think down the road a little bit. Let's say we don't win this. Then what's the next steps? We're going to be a game behind Baltimore. And providing, they can continue to win the rest of the way out, it's going to come down to that last game. If we can, in fact, stay on the field with some of the teams that we maybe should beat here over the next 3 weeks prior to that last game against the Ravens at the end of the year. So, guys, I do think it's winnable. And I think there's many reasons. We're going to get into those here shortly. For one, Baltimore's defense is terrible. It's terrible. And listen, anything that I say about Baltimore, you've already thought, and if, the response is, well, we're really bad too. I get that. Believe me, I do. I get it just as much as everybody else. And if I say that Baltimore's defense is bad, it is. I'm not comparing it to ours. I'm just saying it's bad. Nobody's had trouble. Let me give you an example. This is what the in our division between the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals, the points for and the points against look like at this moment. You want me to show you how bad that the Ravens are? You've seen us play all year, so that kind of gives us something to go by. That's the standard we're looking at. So the Steelers right now, guys, we have 281 points for, 289 points against. That's a -8 on the season. 281, 289. The Ravens, points for, 289, points against, 293. So the Ravens have given up 4 more points than our defense did this year. And think again, all these games, we got 5 games giving up 30-plus points. And still the Ravens, they still have given up more points than we have this year. That's encouraging because the Ravens, I'm just putting it into perspective to show you that the Ravens defense isn't that good. Certainly not the Ravens defenses of the past. Certainly not the Steelers defenses of the past either. So I'm just, making that clear. And then for the Bengals, they have 280 points for, which is crazy because we have 281 points for. And this is a team that Flacco is able to score points with. And again, Joe Burrow, since he's been back, blah, blah, blah. And the only difference is they have given up 374 points, but they are, in fact, the worst defense in the league, hands down. So, again, guys, this team is very evenly matched with the Baltimore Ravens. Sometimes we hear names like Lamar Jackson. Sometimes we hear names like Derrick Henry, and it kind of gets you in a tizzy in a way. It's like, oh, man, it's going to be good, but this guy, but this guy, blah, 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 blah. But, which is partially true. But again, also, this team isn't head and shoulders better than us by any means. As a matter of fact, either one of these teams that do win this division, they could very well head into the playoffs with a sub 500 record. It can happen. But taking advantage of Baltimore's defense and just getting out there and playing confidently offensively, I think we could get some things done. Now, as far as when we're on the defensive side of the ball, stopping Derrick Henry is key, 110%. Nothing else. Nothing should be at the top of your list more than stopping Derrick Henry. Again, the past few games when the Ravens haven't been playing well, Derrick Henry doesn't play particularly well. That doesn't mean he's not going to bust off a 65-yard run. I've seen it. This train, he's a moose. Once he starts moving, it's hard to stop him. But stopping Derrick Henry should be numero uno, key number one. No two ways about it. And then make Lamar beat you with his arm. I think the game plan is simple. I think the game plan is you got to go into this game and show up. You got to show up. Again, that's higher than stopping Derrick Henry. Show up. If this team comes, with their game face on and ready to play football, I think we could win. If this team comes last like they did last week, come on. They didn't even though we were up 7-0 for a while in the first half against the Buffalo Bills. Tell me the body language of this team just didn't give you depression last weekend. The coach looked, come on, everything that he's gone through, the players. So again, it just depends what team shows up this week, and I think that's the key. However, the things that we can control beyond that, I think stopping Derrick Henry again, nothing more important than that. If you could stop Derrick Henry, you could win this football game. I truly believe that. This isn't a 10-2 Patriots team. 12-2, whatever the hell they are, 11-2. This isn't even the Indianapolis team that we were able to beat, who's lost a couple games recently, but when we beat them, they were doing very well. So we have potential to beat teams that aren't bad. We've seen it. It just depends if the guys can get ready to play. Is it going to be self-motivation? Is it going to be motivation by the coaching staff? Is it going to be motivation by other players? We don't know. Whatever it is, it just needs to be done. They need to come out on that football field like they have 5 weeks of football left. They need to come out on that field like they're in the middle of this, like they are, and like they're playing for their playoff lives, like they are. The playoffs start now. It's come on. If you can't get fired up for this, and you can't get fired up for a Ravens game to stay in the race, do you really want this team to be in January playing football? Do you really want this team facing off against, come on. This team got to want it. They got to want it. They got to want it. No matter how much we want it, they have to want it. Let me catch up on some messages today. I'm going to go right about here. All right. A lot of messages. Great. Looking good this morning. Let's see. I'm going to go right here. But cool, let him play. Tyrone says, I'm not worried about Lamar. I'm more worried about Henry and Likely. Not bloody likely. This Likely. All I hear about is Likely. And you know what? How many times have I seen a blunder by him? There was a big blunder in the game last week against the Bengals. There was a big drop when they needed to catch us. And then you remember last year or maybe it was the first game of this year. I don't know. And he was stepping on the out of bounds. It's always something with Likely. I don't know. I'm not sold on Likely. The little guy is the one that worries me. The guy out of Boston College. I can never remember his name, but he's the one that worries me out of the receivers. He manages to get open a lot. And again, that certainly doesn't play in our favor. Tortilla says Pickens got to show up to practice. Lindsay says, laugh my fucking ass off. He went hard on GP. Tyrone, I think this third round pick is going to be good. And another thing I was thinking about that, we have 12 picks. If they don't, basically the Jets and the Raiders are the two teams that are in dire need of quarterback. If we don't use our 12 picks to bump up that 12 picks, listen, if you don't use your 12 picks to get up and get the quarterback you want, you didn't try hard enough. Other than that, what are you going to do? You're going to get some late round guys that aren't going to be on the team in a year and a half. So again, I expect this. It better be a big draft. And again, what's this draft going to look like depending on how this season unfolds? It could be very interesting. If we're all ready to put Tomlin's head on a platter when this thing ends and we finish under 500 and everybody's disgruntled and the players are talking shit and everybody's, what's that going to do for the draft? So we have an interesting road from here to April. There's no two ways about that, guys. So a lot of Steelers still to come. It doesn't even matter that we only have 5 weeks left in the season. There's still a lot of Steelers to come, and it's just as big as the rest. So we're here for it, guys. Tyrone says, I don't see them making the playoffs. Baltimore? Because probably not. If we do, they're not. And if Cincinnati does, and Baltimore probably are not. And I can't express enough. Don't look past. I'm sorry, Cincinnati. Yes, don't look past Cincy. They're playing good at the right time. That's a key to success in the NFL, especially heading into the playoffs, especially going down the stretch. And you got to remember, the Bengals did win their last 5 games last year to just miss the playoffs, and they're kind of looking good right now. Again, Burrow coming back last week. They're getting T. Higgins back this week. You cannot look past the Bengals. You just can't. Because if you do, if we lose this week, let's just say for an example, and then the Bengals win, we're only 1 game ahead of the Bengals with a month left, with 4 games left. So you got to keep those things in mind as well. Lindsay says this. I think they have like an 8% chance now, Tyrone. It drops dramatically if we lose. It drops. I forget what the numbers is. But it's a dramatic drop if we lose this game this week. Tyrone says it's over. Just Learning, what's up? Great seeing Just Learning on the terrible board as always. Just Learning says the division is ours, and it could very well be. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's not on how good your team is this year. It's not the talent you have, and it's not how well. It's what football team shows up on Sunday is the big question. And again, there's nothing that any of us could say today that could answer that question until 1 o'clock comes around and we turn the TV to CBS and we sit back and get ready for a football game. There's just can you feel confident about this game? I don't think that you can. Can you feel not confident? I don't think that you can. We're just going to have to wait out and see. This is a must-win for Tyrone. You know what? It's as close as a must-win as you could get. Again, literally, it's not figuratively. It's the closest you're going to get to a must-win football game. Just Learning says, I don't like prime time night games when we lose. I know, they're the worst when we lose. What happened all those years? Remember we went years for, where we were just dominant in prime time games, Monday nights, Sunday nights. Those days are long be gone because, again, 0-3 this year is not a good sign. Mark Malone, I take Tomlin coach team to lose this one is what he's saying. Estad, hey, what's up? Great seeing you back on a terrible board. Estad says, who's Lamar's backup? It's Tyler Huntley, who we've played and we've beaten before. But again, it's stopping. It's stopping Henry. It is stopping Henry. If we and the thing about Buffalo, they came out last week. They didn't look like they were dominating us. They just kept adding and stacking. And next thing you know, they had 250 yards running against us. That's a concern going into this game as well, facing Derrick Henry. Tyrone says D-line and linebackers back. And that's another key to this game, Tyrone. D-line and linebackers, they better be ready to play. If that defensive line comes in like they did last week, it's not good. The linebackers got to step up, and again, they got to be ready to play football. I think we'll know pretty early how this game is going to turn out. I think you get a feel in the first quarter how it'll turn out. Yinzer Joe says Lamar has thrown 3 interceptions. And you're right. This is the longest period of time in so many years that Lamar has gone 3 games without throwing a touchdown as well. So, is that a tell? He can't run that much anymore. He's again and he's always been turnover prone against us. If you go back and look at the numbers, our success is actually really good against Lamar Jackson and making him turn over. So let's hope we could keep that going in our favor. Tyrone says Huntley, but Lamar's playing. Mark Malone said S-Dad at Huntley. Pretty sure he raped Tomlin too last time he played us. S-Dad says good. I think if Huntley played, he'd throw 4 touchdowns. Lamar just might throw 2. I like the logic. Tyrone says we got to keep Lamar in the pocket, make him beat us, stop Henry. And another thing, it has to be an AFC North brawl. Hit Lamar, hit him early. Here's the thing: if you're going to take stupid penalties at any point during the game, whatever it may be, if you're arguing with the opposing quarterback because he kicked you in the stomach, or if you disagree with the call, and you get a personal foul, why don't you use it to your advantage? Use a personal foul and just really, chuck the quarterback one really hard time just to get it in his head. We're going to F you up today, man. If a penalty is going to be called, make it worth it. Don't lose the 15 yards because a guy kicked you in the stomach. Maybe, and again, we're not too pretty. We're not too proud to beg. Hit Lamar early, hit him hard, and set the tone. And it could do a couple things. You could shake him because he is hurt and he hasn't been playing well and he is getting older. And maybe it could fire your team up, or it could maybe cause them to start making mistakes because they start thinking, oh shit, now we have to rebut. They're pushing our quarterback around, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's all about mindset. This game this week is all about mindset. I think that you got to throw, for the most part, throw the talent and the execution, or not the execution, but the just all that stuff out the window. This turns into a Ravens-Steeler game at 1:00 on Sunday, no matter any way you slice it. And these games usually finish by a difference of 3 points, give or take. How many times over the past year, so many years, and that's going to be, you're going to see whenever I give you my prediction at the end of the show today, and that I didn't very far from that. It's going to be a 3-point game in my opinion. I think the Steelers are going to win in my opinion. And again, I think that this Ravens team is very, 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 very beatable. And I do think that you could put them in the category as just not a good football team. If they were in any other division, they would be getting buried. And again, not because everybody else is playing so great. Baltimore's they don't have it this year. If they did, they wouldn't be 6-6. That's all I'm saying. That's things that, we got to kind of keep in mind. This team is 6-6, just like we are. Think of how well we've played football this year. Just think about it. Take a moment. Do you think about it? Baltimore has the same record as we do. That's all I'm saying, guys. Anything is possible this Sunday, especially since anything is possible during Ravens-Steeler games. Regardless, guys, I think we win this football game. I do. I truly, honestly do. I think we're sitting in first place on Monday morning when we all get back together to talk about it. And if we do, then you start feeling a little bit more confident. Let's say we beat Baltimore. Let's say we beat Miami. Detroit's going to be a problem, and we'll deal with that problem when it comes. And then again, Cleveland and Baltimore to finish up. Baltimore at home the second time around. And let me get this. Let me just kind of lay this out. RB, at the very top of the show, I don't think he's wrong either. But fortunately, it doesn't matter, what we want. But he's not wrong. Let's say we win out. Let's say we win 4 of the next 5. We go to the playoffs and get smashed, and it's just more of the same. And we come back next year and do it again, as we did last year, in the year before, in the year before, in the year before, in the year before, in the year before. So is RB right? Should we want the Steelers to not be successful in this last run? Maybe that might make the it could start the wheels in motion for something in the offseason that could help improve this team. Again, it's hard for me to root against my Steelers. I'll be watching them, hoping that they win anyway. But at the end of the day, RB may be right in the big picture. When you look at the big picture, it makes sense. Let me get back on the board. S-Dad says Henry will run for 300 on us. No Harmon means that's big, and it's shitty because we're missing our rookie defensive tackle that we let up 250 yards last week. It's really shitty. That's telling me that nobody else is doing anything. Come on. These guys don't stink. They're all very accomplished. Most of these players on defense, very established. Yes, a couple years older than everybody. You can put that in consideration, of course. But at the end of the day, it isn't like we have a bunch of 35-year-olds who don't have the talent. A bunch of 33-year-olds that don't know what they're doing. They've put together a team of a bunch of guys. It's been there, done that. They have they have the credentials, and there's no reason that missing a rookie tackle should allow you to give up 250 yards a game. That's unacceptable. But this should be the major concern and the major point of focus this week. They should be hyper-focusing on Derrick Henry like there's no tomorrow. The guy's the size of a skyscraper. He's not hard to miss. He should have been in your sights, in your crosshairs all week long. Again, make Lamar beat you with his arm, because at the end of the day, if he does, then you know what? You've exhausted all your resources, and it came down to that guy beating you with his arm, which isn't great again at this point in his career. Some of the numbers are pointing that this is one of the lowest points in his career, statistic-wise. And if we take advantage of that, guys, I think this is totally winnable. But the key, number one, stopping Derrick Henry. No two ways about it. If you don't stop him, we're probably not going to win. But does that mean he can't? He could get 100 yards. I think he could get 100 yards, we can win. But there's got to be a lot of other things that we can't not do nothing. If that's not a triple negative. But we have to continue to also, make moves on offense, be progressive and move forward. Again, things that they stay away from doing after they become extremely successful, like getting the ball to Darnell Washington. He can't get the ball 2 times this game. He just can't. If you want to win this football game in a physical AFC North matchup against the Baltimore Ravens at their stadium, you can't let Darnell Washington touch the ball only 2 times. Blech. For one, I haven't seen him be single tackled yet. I've yet to see him be tackled by one man. Again, I was watching the All-22 last night, and it took 3 guys both times that he had the ball in his hand to take him down. Throw a bubble pass out to him. Throw something like a little, like a screen that you do with a running back where you have blockers out ahead and hit him. Come on. It's going to be damn near impossible to get him down. You got to beat these guys. You have to beat these guys as asses. If you don't go to Baltimore and punch them in the face, you're probably going to lose. Again, we can't half-ass this game. We got to go in, want to play football, treat it like a playoff game, stop the run, do the things that you know that you got to do. And don't give up 250 yards because you don't have a rookie defensive tackle. It's crazy. It's crazy. Justin Learning, my man, always great seeing you. He says no team scares me. No, nobody does. That's the unfortunate part about this whole Steelers season. There's nobody that scares you. There's nobody that, if you're playing semi-good football, should scare you. The fact of the matter is we just haven't even been able to bring ourselves to the level of playing semi-good football. Sometimes, sights of it, glimpses. Justin Learning says, no team scares me in the NFC. We get hot. We go on a run. Rodgers still got it. Lindsay says, who are we going to have on Henry? We need to watch the tight. Absolutely. The tight ends will kill you. Absolutely. They use their tight ends a lot. They're successful at it very much. Unlike we are, the linebackers are going to be busy. And that's the thing they got to realize, man. And if you're not ready to let the next guy get up, if Peyton Wilson or PQ ain't making the plays, by all means, get Harrison's ass in there. Whoever wants to make the tackles, whoever wants to get their head in the holes, whoever wants to shut down the running lanes, whoever wants to do the things that football players do on a professional level, by all means, step up. Yinzer Joe, Steelers have 30% chance to make the playoffs right now, but with the win over the Ravens, it goes up drastically. Yeah, you're right. But if they lose, it goes down to like somebody said earlier, like 8 or some shit, But it does. It gives you that game advantage against Baltimore. And again, you get Baltimore again in a few weeks at home. If you beat them this time, you might like that matchup a little bit down the road. But again, Cleveland with a tough defense. We'll talk about that when we get to it a lot more. But you got Miami coming up also next week on the evening, on the night game, and again, very winnable. So if they get their head in the game and again play better than what it is that they've been playing, which I don't think that that's a stretch to ask. I think that they could be in this because alone by default, because the AFC is not strong. The AFC North is not strong. Why do we have to follow suit? Why can't we play good football and everybody else isn't? It just, come on. As Dad says, offensive trash, screens and dump offs. I know. And again, I like, but it's no, they want these guys they want to get them the ball out there and they want these guys to make open field plays. And it's just not happening. Has Jonnu Smith made one open field play this year? Has he broke a tackle? Has he had a play where you actually stood up? Again, he had a jet sweep early in the season for a touchdown. He caught a touchdown on a red zone pass from Aaron. He's done things. But can you honestly say you like this Jonnu Smith move at all? He was one of the key guys when not wanting to bring in the other wide receiver because they wanted to run the Arthur Smith offense because he was athletic. He was a playmaker. And I got to be honest with you. I haven't seen it at all with Jonnu, but that's what's killing us. They're going to throw a pop out to Jonnu Smith and, what happens. He turns into a white end and gets tackled and it is what it is. Why wouldn't you want to get it to a 350-pound guy that could just run everybody over? That wouldn't make any sense. For some reason, we're in slow motion. It's got to be a process. We could have the idea about Darnell Washington getting more action, but it'll actually play out 3 weeks from now. For whatever reason, I don't know what this is all about. We can't have a rookie play. He has to be out for a year and a half. We can't do this move unless we wait 3 weeks. We can't play this receiver because. But on the other hand, they throw Duggar in, they throw Samuel. So inconsistent across the board. They need to get the ball to the bruisers. They think, what does it hurt you to get the ball to the Darnell Washington? What does it hurt to make a special point to make sure the ball gets in his hands? Why are you avoiding this like the plague? I would sit down at the table at the beginning of the week and start to put the game plan together. Says, listen, this guy has to touch the ball. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? But they will continue to go to Jonnu Smith, who's, again, very underwhelming, I think is the best way to put it at this point. Let's move on. Mark Malone, Tomlin will order the Watt man to crash on Lamar again. And again, Watt's always played well against Lamar and the Ravens. So let's hope that he could step it up. He has to step it up. If that's anything, maybe we could think, okay, well, he's due for a game. He's due to have a game, and if he has that game and maybe the defense rallies and maybe it causes turnovers and turns into one of these football games that we end up winning, as we did against New England with the turnovers, as we did against Indianapolis with the turnovers. So again, I argued with Mike earlier on in the season, you can't depend on turnovers. You can't. You're not going to win a lot of football games if you're going to depend on turnovers. You can't. If it happens, fantastic. If you win because of it, super. But you sure as hell can't sit around and wait for a turnover all game in order to win a football game. Pussy Destroyer 87. I got to be honest with you. He's in the running for the game ball right off the top with his name. Duke Bowl 2025, he's saying. As Dad says, amazing. They beat the top 2 AFC teams. But yeah, exactly. You needed 50 turnovers to do it. Can they beat any team? I think they can. In their own weird way, but it's going to require turnovers and maybe a lot of them. Again, we beat the Patriots by 3 points, and that was after causing 5 turnovers. So it kind of is it is what it is right now. Also, as Dad says, this can't wait to see the Lions play. That one scares the shit out of me. Yes, Dad. Again, I watched that game last night, and I thought, as I'm watching it, I thought, boy, that's going to be a problem. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Oh my God. There's no way that's not a problem. I'm not looking forward to Detroit. I say that genuinely, but we'll deal with it when we get there. Bingo says this: having a game plan that depends on takeaways is ludicrous. Absolutely, it's insane. It's insane. Tyrone says TJ Watt, my man. Hopefully he does have a big day. He's due. Tyrone says needs direct Lamar. Absolutely. You can't let Lamar get comfortable back there, especially again with these injuries. He's not feeling well. He has ankles. He hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. The guy's not playing good football. You got to get in his ass early, get in his ass hard. And again, if you have to take an early penalty, because they're not going to score 50 points against us, they're not going to come out and score 35 points against us. Where other teams, you say, okay, well, you're probably not going to want to go out and lose a big 15-yard penalty early in the game to Josh Allen because this guy has, again, the guy could do many things. Again, his performance at this moment, it's not relevant. The point is, you got to keep in his head. You got to. If you let Lamar sit back there and he has no obstacles, that it puts us behind the 8 ball a little more. And again, why should it even be that way? This isn't a good team. We have good players. We have a guy that makes more money than anybody on the fucking planet. Yet he has not putting up any numbers. So again, the guys have to decide they want to play football this week. Tyrone says Cowboys with that 3rd round pick. Yeah, it should be a good pick. Again, the Cowboys with their great offense, as we're told, with the quarterback and the CeeDee Lambs and the Pickens and the Pickens. I'm sorry. They share the same record that we do, basically. It's 6-6-1. We can have a better record. If we beat Baltimore on Sunday, we'll have a better record than George Pickens and the Dallas Cowboys. So shit on us all you want. I'm just saying, we better use some of these 12 draft picks to get that quarterback in the 1st round. You're up against the Jets. You're up against the Raiders. I went through the teams last night. I'm looking at the teams that drastically need quarterbacks, and that's the 3. The Jets, the Raiders, and the Steelers. Everybody else is safe and sound, or they're still on the border. They could probably continue to go the route they're going to go without going after a top quarterback, which they're probably, So, again, who do you like? And again, 12 picks. You have 12 picks, dude. Don't F this up. No quarterbacks worth trading up for is what Mark Malone is saying. I disagree. I mean, at this point, I think we have to. I think we can't not go after a franchise quarterback in the draft. I think that just prolongs the current era that we're in, if you will. And I'm not going to call it the Tomlin era. I'm going to call it the last 4 years since 2020, 2021. You have to go out and get your guy. You have to. You can't continue this any longer, not having a quarterback. Is it all the answers? Is everything going to be fixed by going out and getting a rookie quarterback? No, absolutely not. But it's not a bad place to start. Instead of waiting till the end of the offseason to look for a 40-year-old quarterback to bring. Or bring in a Mitch Trubisky and maybe hopefully he could be a starter, or go with the career backup in Mason and hope that he could save the day. Those are bullshit ideas. They're bullshit plans. Go get your fucking guy. Quit effing around and get your guy. What's the problem here? I think this is football 101. How long do you want to go without your quarterback, without a franchise guy? How long? And then sit there and go every week. Well, it's going to get better. Relax. Just wait. It's coming. Things are going to get better. No, it's not. You've been doing this for 5 years. Go get your quarterback. Okay, we effed up with Kenny Pickett. Okay, what are you going to do? Put it behind you. Go get your fucking guy. It's not that complicated. It's football. Back to the board. Yinzer Joe says, I don't know if there is any quarterback in the draft that's worth number 1 and some extra picks. But here's the thing. What are we going to do? Wait a whole nother year? And I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think that you're wrong, Yinzer. I don't think that you're wrong, Mark. I agree with you. But what, this is going to go on another year? 2027 draft, then we'll go after a quarterback? And then by the time he gets developed and ready to go, and then it's 2030, we've been pissing around a little too long. We got to make a move, in my opinion. Otherwise, next year's going to be very similar to this year. And what does that do to the mindset of the young quarterback that does come here? How does this affect his confidence, his development? Come on. In my opinion, I say it's a no-brainer. I think, again, I don't disagree with you guys, and I'm not disrespecting your opinions. I just say they have to go. This has got to start it's got to start somewhere. And continuing to do what we're doing obviously isn't working. I think the writing is on the wall. Let me finish this one up that Joe is saying. He says number 1 picks I don't know if there is a quarterback in the draft worth the number 1 pick and some extra picks to get him. Might look real bad if we trade up to do that, and we desperately need other spots filled. Tyrone says, facts. I think we play it by pick for real. Just Learning says the best place to get a quarterback isn't the draft; it's free agency, and you can get a top. You know what? And we effed that up too. As Sam Darnold was floating around like an angel, just hovering. Oh, but he would have cost so much money. He's a franchise quarterback. You're willing to give all your money to a 50-year-old defensive tackle who doesn't make a play but every 3 weeks. You're willing to give all your money to obviously getting over the hill, very good to this point, but a defensive player that puts zeros up every time you have a game of importance, but you don't want to give it to the quarterback? Again, not arguing. I always respect every message on this board. But I'm just saying, guys, at some point we have to break the mold that we're in. This mold is not working. It's moldy, is what this mold is. Bingo says, I won't expect any different until they show me with consistency that they aren't hot garbage. I don't think that's too much to ask. Let me try to pronounce this. The O.L. Isaacs, maybe. O.L. Isaacs, I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. He says, mark my word, that's 2 losses in a row for the Steelers, and they're not going to go through losses. They're not going to go to the founder mark for the first time this late in the season since 2023. Mod Steelers mode. Defense. Lindsay says, I'm hitting his leg. Absolutely. Hit his damn ankle. It's football. Now, back in my day, when I was younger, they had these 2 ice skaters. I don't know if you guys remember this. Probably do. One lady got pissed off because the other lady was better, and she got somebody to whack her in the leg with a fucking rod, a pole. Now, of course, you know, but that's ice skating. You got to get in there, man. Get in your head and figure out what you got to do. If you got to hit this guy extra hard, and again, do it early. They're not going to score 35, 40 points on you. It's the Ravens. The chances are it's going to be low scoring. So if you take a 15-yard penalty early, it is what it is. You got to hit him in the ankle, hit him hard, get in that pile, do whatever you got to do. Tyrone says Patrick Queen better show up and play. Absolutely. He's another one. Ravens O-line bumped out. You're right, Tyrone. The Ravens O-line is soft, dude. This is not a good football team. And by saying that, I want you to realize that I am saying that we are a better football team than they are, if you think about it. Do they have a Jalen Ramsey? Do they? I mean, we have pieces, at least. Baltimore has a couple pieces, but again, their offensive line is bad. Their defense is bad. They don't have Justin Tucker anymore. A lot of the little X factors just aren't there for what used to make the Ravens successful. Let's move on. RB says, Ryan, I agree, and that's what's been missing around here. Mike don't like tough guys. We don't draft enough. We need tough guys. How can you not have tough guys if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? What a joke. He says we haven't had a legit tough guy since Harrison left. Have you guys seen that safety out in Denver, the one that looks and plays exactly like Troy Polamalu? I would love to have that guy. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's uncanny. You watch him play. I seen him the other night, and I thought, my God, he not only plays like Troy, he looks like Troy. He's built like Troy. He moves like Troy. Lindsay says this. No, I'm never going to lose hope. Going to hope the Steelers. I know, and that's where I'm at too. I ultimately can't. Tyrone says, let's get this motherfucking done. Absolutely. First in the and look, as bad as it's been, 48 hours from now, we start a game that could put us in first place, guys. First place. Think about that. We just gave up 250 yards last week on the ground. We're very much in this thing. Ramsey is a tough guy. I couldn't disagree with you more, and that's why I love him. And that's why I made a point to bring his name up just a minute ago, because he is that dude. And even at 32 years old, I think he still is that dude. Tyrone said, a complete game wouldn't hurt either, right? where the offense actually comes out and looks good. The defense doesn't shit the bed. Bingo says, that's it. There's too much talent on this D. Everyone looking around, waiting on the guy beside. You know what, Bingo? That's exactly the case. That's exactly what I was thinking. How many times you just think, get your head in there and step into the hole and make the tackle? Why is there two inside linebackers standing in one spot and the running back is still getting through the hole? They got to step up. It's the mindset. The mindset of this team is garbage right now. Ramsey practiced today. I do believe I have the injury reports here. We'll get to that in 1 second. I did forget, so I appreciate the reminder. Tyrone Ginger Joseph's reports are saying Adam Thielen will play a limited capacity game on Sunday. Maybe he makes a difference for you know what? 2 weeks ago, listen, I made a point on this show, and I said this. I said, you got to listen. If you're not happy with your team, and I made this whole analogy with Olive Garden. You might remember this conversation. And for 2 years, almost 2 years, they didn't have a wide receiver too. And we say, why? And I still say why. But I said, you have to complain. We are the consumer. We're the ones consuming the product. And what did they do? They complained. They went out on Sunday and they chanted and they booed during the Renegade. You know, they did what they had to do to show that we're not messing around as fans. And what did they do? Within days, don't get me wrong, Adam Thielen isn't Antonio Brown, but Adam Thielen is a successful receiver in the NFL who's probably one of the best route runners still at his age. Why wasn't this an option a month ago? Why was, he was being passed around the league. He went to Carolina and then back to Minnesota. He wasn't hard to get. Why didn't they make this move? Because we were, hey, they're making money. They're putting the asses in the seats. We became vocal. What happens? We get Adam Thielen. I think the offense improves dramatically with Adam Thielen. Again, is he Antonio Brown? No, not close. Is he Randy Moss? No, not close. But again, Adam Thielen, he's a veteran who's had a very good career. Look at his numbers, and he's been a very good receiver in the NFL. He's savvy. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He runs great routes, and he's solid. And the guy can catch passes. And you know where I'm at. Listen. You know what? I'm just going to go past that. I think the offense does. It improves drastically. I think that it truly does. And if it does, they should be kicking themselves in the ass, saying, "Why didn't we do nothing for 2 years? Nothing." Mike Williams, that went really well, and we do have MVS on the shelf, but consider going out and literally getting a guy that was going to do something on this team, which he can. And again, I think he could be a big part of this last 5 games. Is he, again, any of these other people? No, he's not. And I'm not trying to say that he is. I'm not trying to talk him up, and I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just saying I believe that this offense improves drastically if you have somebody that could play a wide receiver position. Not Scotty Miller, not Ben Skoranek. And whether the other 2 midgets are anything in the future, we don't know. But obviously, we can't depend on Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. Maybe they could catch the ball. But again, if you're 2 feet tall, it's harder to get out of range. It's harder to get open. And it's becoming obvious because, again, they're not getting open. Even in zone coverage, they're not finding the soft spots. These 2 small guys, you need, come on, something more than what we have. So with that being said, I do think that the offense improves drastically. And I think if we see that this weekend, even if it's in a smaller capacity, I think it's a step in the right direction as we do move forward. Again, Miami, if he plays a little bit more, again, Detroit's probably going to be a tough game for us. But again, whatever the reason was, they took 2 seasons to actually get somebody that I would consider a wide receiver in the league. Somebody that I would actually consider, making the decision myself. If I was to make the decision, I would bring it out of, and it's just kind of been what the Steelers have been doing. They've had this Sam Darnold. He took Minnesota to what did he have? 15 wins last year? 14 wins? Sam Darnold actually performed well on the other teams that he played with as well. And I always said to Mike, I said, you know what, this Sam Darnold, he has something. There's something about him. But if they're never going to pull the trigger on that, then you got to go after the quarterback in the draft. And that's kind of so again, they got to figure all that out moving forward, guys. Let's get back on the board here. Lindsay says, I hope I think limited turns into a lot if he's okay, like dumb the offense down. Richard, what's up, Richard? Always great seeing Richard on the terrible board. Richard says this: Steelers lose their chances of making the playoffs. If Steelers lose, their chances of making the playoffs are 21%. So it could go up to 80% or it could go down to 21%. This is a big game. Adam T. Calvin Austin III will rotate. Tyrone says, lucky we gave up a fifth. We only gave up a fifth. Just Learning says, John, who had 88 receptions last year, what happened? You know what? Equals Arthur Smith's offense. And that's been my debates, my arguments since day one with John. That was the selling point. Oh my God, the guy had 88 yards last year. He was an all-pro last year. But you need a playmaker. If we don't have a wide receiver, we got to have a playmaker, blah, 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 athletic guy, blah, 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 blah. And I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet, and it just makes you think, is it even going to happen with John? And we don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it to this point. Richard says trying to figure out which Steeler team is going to show is like trying to figure out what Mike Tomlin's saying is going to be at his press conference. That's a good one, Richard. Tyrone says offensive line got to block A-Rod, got to be ready to get ready to play, get Warren, Gainwell, DK, Darnell, Muth the fucking ball. I know, quit pissing around. The thing is, well, let's not do this. You're not outsmarting anybody. Believe me. If you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a very, very, very high percent chance you're not going to be outsmarted. Just go out there and play football. Play hard. Do the fundamentals. Don't make mistakes. Stop the run. And you have a chance in this game. Again, and anybody that says that we don't, just remember they are 6-6, just like we are. And think of how we've played to get to 6-6. And remember that they have the same record that we do. Very winnable game for the Steelers. Very winnable. Tyrone says, okay, we did get that one. RB says, legitimately, can anyone tell me when the last time we actually beat a team? Like no 5 turnovers, no sack fumbles in the fourth, when we convincingly won a game, right? Isn't that a sign of what good teams do? They win games. And again, you shouldn't have to depend. Yes, turnovers are wonderful. They are the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, if you will. But you got to make that sundae underneath. It's got to be the whole deal. Again, you can't depend on that at the end of the game. I know that they were big on that at the beginning of the year, the turnovers, which are great, but you got to play the other 99% of the game as well. And that hasn't been happening. Phil Steele says, what up, Blood fans? Teflon Don sucks. Always great seeing Phil Steele on the terrible board. Hope you're having a great Friday, sir. Bingo says, maybe last year sometimes. I mean, was it even last year sometime? Was there a team that we went out and just have been able to beat? Is there? The Giants, maybe the Jets game last year? Because even the Jets game this year was too damn close, in my opinion. Was it 33-31, first game of the year? Maybe the Giants last year? Phil Steele, he says, I don't give a fuck what you say. You're blaming 90 for getting a retirement Steeler contract to finish his career in the Berg and not another city where he not only played well but won many games for the Teflon Don. Here's my problem, Phil, with TJ. He needs to be a more complete linebacker. If you're just a pass rusher, which a lot of his statistics come from, is pass defense, you maybe shouldn't be playing all 4 downs. Say what you want. If the guy is primarily teeing off on quarterbacks and it's not his priority to be a good run stopper, maybe he should only be playing on 4th. Maybe, in his 30s, maybe that's not the craziest thing to say. Let him play on passing downs. Let him go off, do his thing. Because I got to be honest, I'm watching that all 22 last night, and they did run the same play over and over and over and over against us. And a lot of them were right at TJ Watt. Right at him. Right. They made a point, believe me. After watching what I watched last night, they very well made a point to run at that man all day long. And they stuck with it, and they did it often. Again, 30, whatever he is. Maybe you want somebody that's more adept to stopping the run and early downs. I'm just saying. Crazier things have happened. RB says there's no franchise quarterbacks anymore. These guys don't learn the game anymore in college. These guys don't have the heart, the toughness, and these guys aren't giving up the time to develop. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, RB, because I made a special point to do something last night because somebody made the comment, and listen. I don't agree, and I do agree, but listen to this. Yesterday, I made they said we had three. Here's how it went. Maybe this will be a little bit easier to remember. Somebody said that Bill Cowher had 2 franchise quarterbacks. So I said, who? And they'd said Cordell Stewart and, of course, Big Ben. And I said, well, Cordell wasn't a franchise. But you know what? He was, but he wasn't. And I'm prepared to answer I'm prepared to defend what I said. And like I said, I'm glad that you brought it up because I have these notes on the side that I do have just to talk about that for a moment. Now, I do want to tell you this, that Cordell Stewart, as our quarterback, as a starter, he was 48-31. That's good, right? Absolutely. I don't think anybody will deny that. He had 70 touchdowns for the Steelers passing, and he had 72 interceptions, which isn't a great sign. You could say Terry Bradshaw had the same amount of interceptions, the same amount of touchdowns in his career, which is true. The guy won 4 Super Bowls, which would be the difference, obviously. He had other accomplishments. He led the team to 13-3 in 2001. He was a Pro Bowler in 2001 as a quarterback. So things, would say that he was a franchise quarterback. Now with what RB says on the board, let me give you. I just Googled. I said, "What? Explain to me what a franchise quarterback is." And this guy's just for shits and giggles. I'm doing this. He said, "This is what I Googled. A franchise quarterback is a quarterback a team builds around because they are considered a rare, long-term cornerstone of the offense. Key factors that make a quarterback a franchise player include exceptional football intelligence, leadership, consistency, and the ability to elevate the play of the team around them. They must also be consistently available, perform when under pressure, and demonstrate the talent to win games, including high-stake playoff scenarios." So, as far as what RB is saying, I think that they're out there. I think they're few and far between. I think they used to be more. But as I say, I think there's about 5 top-tier quarterbacks on this planet at any given time. 8 billion people, 5 top-tier quarterbacks. And if you look at the criteria, that's what's said in the simple Google search. I don't know if Cordell Stewart, he was some of those things. But again, I think being your quarterback for 7 years, he would have been considered our franchise guy at the time. But was he a franchise quarterback? I don't know. Again, the very last thing that was said here, including high-stakes playoff games, which he choked in every one of those that we played. But again, this isn't about Cordell Stewart at all. This is just kind of piggybacking off of what RB said and just to kind of get back to the point that I was making yesterday. So there you go. If, you're just kind of curious what it is we're looking for, what is that? What is that? What is the guy? What is, what do we need? What are we looking for? I'm kind of confused. I mean, that's basically it. It's cut and dry. Exceptional football intelligence, leadership, consistency, the ability to elevate the play of the team around them, consistently be available, perform well under pressure. So, this is what we're looking for, guys. Is that guy out there? Is that guy playing at Indiana this year? Is that guy playing in South Carolina this year? Is that guy playing in Texas this year? I don't know, but that is kind of what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for as you're trying to find that most valuable piece of this football team. Again, I think Sam Darnold could have fit some of them things. I think maybe some other people that were moving around this offseason. Obviously, they didn't want to do the free agency thing. So maybe the draft is what they hadn't planned. And again, those are going to be the qualities that we're going to be looking for as we do try to find the ever important quarterback position, guys. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Let me get back on the board here. RB says franchise quarterbacks are dead. Tyrone says we need a quarterback. We'll see what we do with the quarterbacks. RB, don't tell me much about our franchise quarterback. You don't reach for a guy who isn't a franchise guy just because you. And that's what I'm saying. Look at Kenny. Look at the gamble they made on Kenny. Did he displayed those some of these in college, but again, at the end of the day, did you see a lot of these points when you looked at Kenny Pickett? No, I didn't. And even being a Pitt fan, come on, let's be honest. Just because you need one and call him because he's here, he's our franchise, that's not a thing. And I think that was the point I was making with Cordell as well. Phyllis Steele says, with many splash plays, Bit now has a fucked up head coach and sorry ass coaches, and you're blaming 90. No, he's not. But I would like to see him get some statistics up on the board because he is one of the highest paid players in the league on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not disputing that Tomlin's is the problem. I'm not disputing that all these other things that we talk about is not the problem. I'm just saying I would like to see more than all zeros on the board in big games, in the games that you need them. And you can also apply this. Apply your franchise quarterback to your defensive leader, who I think we would call TJ Watt because of the money he makes. Does TJ Watt does he have exceptional football knowledge? It seems so. Does he have leadership? Maybe by example. Consistency. Is the consistency there, Phil? I don't think it is. The ability to elevate the play around the team around them. Does TJ do that? Perform well under pressure, consistency, being available, demonstrate the talent to win games, which he does at times when he strips the ball. I don't know arguments there. And also how they play in high-stake scenarios, which, again, the person of a conversation we're talking about has not been performing well in big game scenarios. So that's all. Nobody's saying it's all TJ Watt. This guy has to, but being what he is, I think he needs to, and I don't think I'm crazy for saying this. I think he needs to play better. Look at what his counterpart's doing. Myles Garrett had 7 sacks in 2 games. TJ's been putting up 0. That's all I'm saying. Nobody's saying that he sucks. Nobody's saying that he's the reason that this team's not good, but it sure wouldn't hurt if he played better football. It surely wouldn't hurt. Just learning, says Danny Dime. Dude, Baker Mayfield, come on. This guy's a baller. You could tell from day one, even in Cleveland, the guy was able to beat the Steelers. The guy took the Browns. So they haven't finished with a better record than the Steelers since 1989 until just a couple years ago when they did and beat us in the playoffs and the Baker and all this. Baker Mayfield, it's a crime. It's a crime that it ended up going the way that it did with him. He should be a Steeler or somebody like him, guys. Baker Mayfield's a baller. I've always compared him to Brett Favre. You're just going to get a gamer, game in, game out. The guy's going to win football games. Is there better? Yes. Is there worse? Yes. But again, I think letting Baker Mayfield again, he was hovering at one point out there. We didn't make the move. So apparently we have a better plan. We will see. Baker, etc. We're all top 5 at the draft 5 years later. I absolutely up for grabs. Bingo says first, we have to see. And that's another thing. I don't understand the people that don't want to see Will. Yes, we're not saying he's going to come in and be the savior of this team and win a Super Bowl. But at some point, I like to see the rookie play because we are heading into a draft that figuring out the quarterback becomes a very significant issue. I at least like to know what the guy we just drafted plays like. But again, maybe when games are not as important, if things play out a certain way in a couple weeks, we may, and we'll go from there. If he's the guy, then awesome. If he's not and loses out, then and you're in a better position for the draft. Again, this is a very, very important draft. Maybe one of the most important drafts in the history of this team, comparable to the early 70s. I do want to say I have, and for this reason, and again, this isn't a divider. This is just a statistic. Mike Tomlin is on his 8th season and counting. This will be 9 seasons if he doesn't win a playoff game this year, which is obviously the longest in Steeler history in the Super Bowl era. Chuck Noll, 4 years. 4 years in a row was the longest he went. He did it 2 times, both in the 80s. No surprises there. 80 to 83, 85 to 88. And Bill Cowher only one time. He had lost 3 games or 3 seasons in a row where he didn't win a playoff game, 98 to 2000, which were Cordell Stewart years. Just want to throw that out there. So something is got to happen. It's got to happen, and it's got to happen now. And that's why this is the biggest draft that's probably maybe ever for the Steelers. Of course, we know about the Hall of Famers that were drafted in the 70s, but as far as this team's health and what this team got moving forward and what they're going to be, this may be, especially being in Pittsburgh with 12 draft picks, can very well be the most important draft in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would debate anybody on that, seriously, because if we turn this thing around because of the draft, then you know what? The proof is in the pudding. I'm going to go right here. Steeler Freak, what's up, Big John Stud? Middle name Mud, my man, all the way from Las Vegas. John says this: I don't think the current coaching staff can find and develop a quarterback. That's a problem as well. It's certainly a problem. The development of players, and not just quarterbacks, overall has been kind of sketch, right? Our offensive line, come on, our left tackle, one of the most important positions on your team. Look at the development. Yes, he's played better. Yes, but again, Broderick has been Broderick in his development. I don't think anybody can dispute that. They are fucked for a few years until Tomlin is gone, is what John says. Tyrone says we definitely need a quarterback. I just want the right guy. Absolutely. But the thing is, as well, Tyrone, I mean, at what point do we just not pull the trigger? I mean, we could do this for the next 10 years and say, well, he's not the guy. Oh, well, we don't like Danny Dimes because, he played bad in New York. Well, we don't like Sam Darnold because this. Well, Baker Mayfield, at some point we do have to pull the trigger. Otherwise, it's just going to get prolonged even more. And again, nothing is getting solved. So I agree with you. I want the right guy, but it's risk management. You know what I mean? RB says Watt is washed, and he's an example of why this team sucks. You don't pay $160 million for a washing edge rusher for past glories and warm fuzzies, then cry and we don't have the talent elsewhere. It's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. Lindsay says, I'll laugh my ass off. Here we go. TJ for life. Phil says this 90 isn't the only one on the field. Fuck that. Everybody is fucking up, especially, and I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Especially the sorry ass coaches. It's week 14 and the offense and defense are ranked 20. That's on coaching, not. You're right. The total lack of success for this team is not TJ Watt's fault. I agree. However, the individual himself needs to improve. If he improves, this team does improve. If the guy doesn't put zeros across the board and maybe gets his hand on a tackle, maybe gets his hand in there, maybe punches a ball out, it's certainly going to be more to our advantage than, again, going zeros across the board. Maurice Moy, I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. Maurice says, bro, y'all defense worse. Maurice also says y'all don't have a Lamar either. Well, I'm glad. Believe me. We dominate Lamar. As a matter of fact, go back and look at the numbers. Maurice, please, if you will. I would rather play Lamar Jackson. I'm going to be honest with you. We've been very successful against Lamar over the past 10 years. As a matter of fact, we beat the Ravens 8 times in a row, all the way up until last year. Yes, the Ravens have won 2, but prior to that, we won 8. And guess what? This has been the team that we've been playing with for those past 4 years. We're not afraid of Lamar. We've never been afraid of Lamar. And now that Lamar has no legs, I'm definitely not afraid of Lamar. Lamar's a bum is what Tyrone is saying. Lindsay says you barely got Lamar right now. I know. This guy's held together with sticks and scotch tape at this point. Believe me, nobody's afraid of Lamar. Is they're 6-6, just like the Steelers, who are as bad as you're pointing out. Come on. He also says Ravens win 27-9. Somber says Lamar is a shell of his former self, just like Rodgers. Act like you know ball, Maurice. Tyrone 27-9. Yeah, okay, is what he's saying. Tortilla, we're beating the Ravens. Lamar can still hurt you, and he's still. Come on, the guy that gave up 5 turnovers to this last game he just played. He's not. Come on, if this was MVP Lamar, maybe we could take what you're saying seriously. But again, the team that he's leading is the same record as we have. So if you continue to talk about us, you have the same exact record. And if you lose, you're going to be behind us. So again, not sold on the Lamar business. I'm just not. I'm not, and I haven't been for a long time. Certainly since we won 8 in a row against them in the Ravens. This is not a team we're afraid of. It's a team that we know very well, as you know us very well, and it's going to be a good game. And I listen, if Lamar beats us and it's by his arm, then so be it. That means we stopped the run. We contained Lamar, and with that sorry arm, the guy had 5 turnovers last game he played against the Bengals. The Bengals defense got 5 turnovers, caused 5 turnovers with Lamar. The only defense in the league that's worse than ours. Lamar can still hurt you, and he's the better. I mean, tell me something I don't know. You're being silly, Maurice. I think you're just here to be silly, right? That's the only thing I'm getting from this. John says, my eyes tell me exactly where the Steelers are right now. Absolutely. I don't think anybody, I don't think anybody's head's in the cloud. I don't think that anybody's expecting great results from this year, unfortunately. But, it's our team. We got 5 games left. Let's see what we could do. That's kind of where we're at. And I'm hoping that, again, with the win this week, it changes the scenario. It really does. Because Baltimore has a couple tough games down the road as well. And again, this thing is far from over. Believe me, if you think your 6-6 team is so much better than our 6-6 team, we'll see you on Sunday. That's all I got to say. Let's continue on. Tyrone says now, not W, that O-line. Their offensive line's no good. Their defensive line's terrible. Their quarterback is beat to hell. He hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. The last game he played, he had 5 turnovers. Henry couldn't even get the ball running against that defense. Guys, it's not a good football team. But again, if they were, they wouldn't be 6-6 with us in the division. You know where we are. You've seen us play every game this year, and just know that this team could be behind us here in about 50 hours or so, give or take. Somber says this: Lamar gets sacked every time he scrambles. Buddy is delusional, is what Somber's saying. And the thing is about the board, which you want to understand, Maurice, nobody is talking shit. They're just saying that you're talking a bunch of shit. That's the thing. It's just you're 6-6, bro. That's all. Maurice says this: y'all know Ravens scare. Bro, you are us. You built your organization to compete with us. Nobody's scared of you. Believe me. Believe me. Everything that you've done is just like the Steelers organization, because you have to compete with us in the division. It's been like that for 30 years. 30 years. I've been watching it play out. And believe me, Yins aren't great. And I respect the team. That's the thing. It isn't I don't dislike you. I'll sit here and tell you the obvious truth, because, again, I do respect Baltimore because, again, they are us. There's no team more similar than the Pittsburgh Steelers in this league. Believe me. Everything we do, you do. We jump, you jump. Believe me. We win 2 Super Bowls in this century. You win 2 Super Bowls in this century. We have a 20-year tenured coach. You have a 20-year tenured coach. We want to fire our coach. You want to fire your coach. Believe me, there's nothing that you do that we don't do. Believe me. The Ravens, come on. You purple bird. Yeah. Tyrone, we are not worried about the Ratbirds. Again, the shitbirds never scare. Even when the shitbirds are good, they don't scare us, because we still find ways to beat you, because we are you. You were us. You were us. And you've always been us. Lindsay, apparently the Steelers scare you. You came into a Steeler pod. Tyrone, watch out. TJ Watt behind Lamar. You won 5 straight what? You didn't win 5 straight shit. I know they ain't games. I know it ain't against us. I don't know anything that Baltimore won 5 straight. Again, this team is 6-6. Oh, is that maybe that's what it is. Maybe you did win some games in a row, but you just got your ass kicked last week when you played. 5 turnovers. Lamar, come on, get this guy some Velcro or glue for his hands. He can't hold on to the ball to save his life. Somber says, right, fangirling. Tyrone, you did, but now we're going to take the division and leave you behind. Exactly. Listen, if you're games ahead of if you weren't 6-6, maybe I would take this a little bit more serious. That's all. That's all I'm saying, bro. Yinzers are 6-6. Get over yourself. Steeler freak stud wide receivers who aren't on Social Security don't want to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The quarterback situation to include Rodgers and the offensive coordinators are asked and have been for 5 years. Oh, believe me, bro, we got problems. ain't nobody denying that, John. And that's it is what it is. Hopefully things get better. We got the draft. Sorry, excuse me. Maurice says, lost last week because of turnovers. Y'all get out coached. Bro, we've been getting out coached for 20 years. Keep that in mind. Mike Tomlin hasn't been out coaching many coaches for many years. So if this is your reason for being able to beat us, I'd hold on to that thought. Also, he says, get out coached in the scheme with, yeah, so do the Ravens. Believe me, that if you think we're a 90s scheme, Yinzers are a 90s scheme too. I challenge you to start comparing. I know it's easy to separate because, we hate one another and we hate your team and you hate ours. But take a moment to look at the similarities. Believe me, I guarantee you find yourself some black and gold once you start scraping the terrible purple paint off of your uniforms. Tortilla saying 31-26. Somber says 250 running back that ain't been doing right. What's your come on, Derrick Henry? You're not doing shit with a guy like Derrick Henry. That's crazy. Yins aren't good. That's not a good football team. You have a couple good players in spots just like we do. Sit down. Go to the back of the class, back of the line. We beat the Bengals. Hey, that's right. Didn't we beat the Bengals 34-12? We scored 30-plus points in both of the Bengals games. Guess what the Ravens scored? 14. Lamar Jackson, baby. Derrick Henry, 14 points against that Bengals defense. We scored 31 and 33. Lindsay, your quarterback is a glorified running back? Absolutely. Maurice does say this. At least you see us scoring 26. I respect that. I didn't see it against the Bengals' worst defense in the league when you scored 14. And we managed to score 64 points in both of our games against Cincy. Tyrone, he's tweaking. You ain't even going to get 30. 20. Damn, you nervous as fuck on a Steeler pod, Ty said. Also, Sommer said, fuck it. Maurice, he says, bro, your defense trash and offense just as worse. Y'all playing calling sucks. Y'all know I'm right. I'm not a Steeler fan, but I'm a realistic football fan. And you're going to sit there at 6-6 and say that we have all these problems and you don't. That's where you're, listen, again, you're silly. Maurice, and I'm glad you stopped today. We needed a laugh. I got to be honest. It's been rough. The team's had a rough year, just like yours. But we needed this laugh. And again, I appreciate you and I respect your opinions, but I think you're way off only because you're 6-6. That's all. That's all. If you had all these great things that we don't have, believe me, you wouldn't be 6-6. Our defense. Okay, it's bad, but Baltimore's defense. All right, listen, I'm not going to go on and on with Maurice. I just want to say that we appreciate your humor today, and we needed to laugh. Lindsay says, so does yours. Laugh my ass off. Pot calling the kettle black. I think the guys on the terrible board are certainly proving the point that I just tried to drive home. Corey Beavers, my man, what's up? Corey, always great seeing you on the terrible board. Corey says, at Tyrone, I'm nervous as fuck. We can play down to anyone. We lost some of the worst quarterbacks teams in history. Remember the 1-15 Bucks in 2014? Yeah, that should never happen. Corey says. Tyrone says, so is yours. Please, I hope you do come back. Please come back after we beat you on Monday. We'll be here the same time Monday. And just in case you're already thinking of the excuse, we'll be here Tuesday. And just in case you can't make it that day, we'll be here Wednesday. And when your dog dies, we'll be here Thursday. And when you have to work overtime, we'll be here Friday. Please, by all means, come back. I would love to talk to you next week. Maurice says, when the Ravens win, that will get Tomlin fired and break your stool. I can't wait. Please come back Monday. I invite you. You're invited back straight from the horse's mouth. We hope to see you. Tyrone says, you're right. We own Lamar. We got it. We're not. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to try to convince this guy all show. It's just, again, it's a waste of my time. When you crush Tyrone says, when we crush you, John Harbaugh gets fired. Yeah, Yins have a great situation with your coach, too. Yins ain't booing your coach. Somber says, haha, he thinks Tomlin's getting fired. Will make us mad. It just shows you how much this guy does not know. So, again, thank you. Thank you for humoring us. I do want to say this. Corey says, Maurice, joke's on you. Most of us want Tomlin gone. Would break my soul one bit. What else you got, Chief? Yeah, I must have forgot that we beat you the 8 times prior. 8! Maurice, 8! 8! That's right. We owned you for 4 straight years. And that's just not beating you. That's owning you. 4 straight years, all the way into halfway through the second meeting last year and in the playoffs. Okay. Then the playoff game wasn't even a scheduled game. So whatever, run with that. Who leads the series, Tyrone? As Tyrone is saying on the board, believe me, it's us. Who's the better franchise? Oh, it's us. And believe me, if anybody's trying to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, oh, it's you guys. Somber says we won 3 and 5. What's your point? Tyrone, hey, remember, picked off by 43. Corey says, for the first time in how long? It's sad that the biggest game in our rival season is beating us. That's a seal. Yeah. John says this. He says, Maurice Boy Toy 5108. Have your mom make a sandwich and stop trolling. Somber says Ravens have had their franchise quarterback since 2018 and haven't won shit. Right. You got to remember when we had our franchise quarterback, we won the Super Bowl in his second year. How's that working out for your guy? Just want to know. He's the big advantage. And now Lamar is on the decline. Yeah, they missed the window's closed. This pathetic meat sack is just letting out first. I get it. And that's the thing, too. And that's why come on. We'll have fun with the guy. He's obviously out of his mind. Tyrone says Lamar a fucking bum. Philistine, how can he be a complete linebacker when the SC doesn't have a freaking defensive scheme, especially in the secondary? DC, gotcha, bro. Gotcha. Lindsay says Ravens want Harbaugh gone too. Worry about your own team. The Tomlin shit's been coming for years. Your bum ass. And here's the thing. Yeah. I especially when I win now. I want this guy to come back. I want him back on Monday. The Tomlin shit's been going on for years. Your bum ass team has nothing to do with it. Believe me. Corey says this. You do realize that if you lose to us, even once this year, with the way you're playing, especially if you lose to us, you don't think your guy's on the hot seat if you lose to the 6-6 Steelers? Tyrone says, I'm hyped now. And you're right. Now I'm even more ready to go. I'm even more ready for a Steeler win. I love the fact that Maurice came. I really am, because again, I was kind of sluggish heading into the weekend. We could, the Ravens ain't any good. They're 6-6 like we are. We're probably going to win this thing. But now I'm ready. I'm ready. Tortilla says the Sacramento Ravens. Maurice says, I'm not trolling. I hate y'all, but I still, and that's the same here, my friend. I do want to say that I do respect your opinion, and I'm having a lot of fun with you. And again, take it as that. I've been a Raven fan since 96. Hey, and you know what? I'm here for you, bro, because again, I've been here against you every year since 1996 when the Browns jumped town. When your Cleveland Browns became your Baltimore Ravens, I've been there. Bingo says Neil O'Donnell should count as a franchise quarterback. Had he in areas that he had and he excelled, Cordell didn't. But in areas that Cordell excelled, Neil didn't. They kind of X one another out for me in a way. As far as a more natural quarterback, it was Neil O'Donnell. But just being a better athlete, and the guy was a playmaker. They might have been trying to shove a square into a circle, a round hole for years, trying to get making Cordell the quarterback. He was initially Slash. He was a receiver his rookie year. He was a running back his rookie year. He was returning kicks. He was punting the football. Matter of fact, he's the only rookie to ever take a snap in a Super Bowl. His rookie year, he did go as Slash, and he took a snap, and he's the only rookie quarterback to ever take a snap in the Super Bowl. They were just two different beasts, and I'm not going to take anything away from either one of them. I'm just going to say I don't qualify either of them as a franchise quarterback for that reason. Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger, in my opinion, are the two franchise quarterbacks we've had the best. If you want to go next level down, maybe Neil O'Donnell, Cordell Stewart, but again, they didn't win you anything. So at the end of the day, I'd lean in the favor of the other two. But do what you want with that. We want all smoke. That's right, Tyrone says. Lindsay says, great. We hate y'all too. It ain't nothing more. You can't wait for these Ravens games. You really can't. Ugh. It don't matter how bad they are, how good they are, for that matter. The Ravens hate is fun. It really is. Tyrone says we're going to break Lamar in half. And that's the thing, Tyrone, as I said earlier, let's hit this fucking guy. Let's get some penalty. Let's take the penalty early. What's a 15-yard penalty going to cost you in the first quarter to set the example, to set the mode, to show that, we're going to be in your ass all day. If you have to give up 15 yards for that, oh well. Guess what? We've been giving up 15 yards on chunk plays all season. Let's do something that's going to benefit you for once in that sense. Steeler Freak says Jackson can't perform in the postseason. Never will. He never has. You're right. Where's your guy in the? Should I let me know if you're in here, Maurice, because I want to let you know what the franchise quarterback criteria are, and I just want to let you know your guy doesn't have half of them. We acknowledge we don't have a quarterback. We get that. Believe me. The Ravens in the worst place. Think they won a Super Bowl, but they got a regular season tease. Cody says Lamar only in quarterback in AFC history to literally shit the field. That's special. Anybody that shits, and anything that has anybody that has any shitting incidences, they certainly get their own category. It's Joe Paterno. Remember, he was shitting himself running across the field the one year. Come on, anybody that shits themselves on the football field, they have a whole different respect. Fearless Steel says how many AFC Championship games with Slash 36-10 ran on defenses? Two AFC Championship games with Slash. 01, they lost 24-17 to the Patriots. And in 98, they lost to the Broncos, who we beat 35-24 earlier in the year. Wasn't supposed to, but they came back around and beat us like they were supposed to in the playoffs as Cordell Stewart threw 4 interceptions and loses 1 fumble in that particular game. Is Cordell in the AFC Championship games. Neil O'Donnell, a franchise. And that's kind of what I just explained. He's kind of in that second tier category for me. Him and Cordell, I think they're in that next tier. Just because they didn't win. Just because they didn't get it done. AFC Championship games for Cordell, even a Super Bowl for Neil O'Donnell. They just didn't get it done. That's why, for me, personally, they're next tier down when you're looking at the tiers. Tyrone, A-Rod going to cook. Tyrone, I'm feeling your energy. Because I am. I'm feeling good. I think we're going to win this football game. I really do. TJ, yeah, absolutely. TJ, Lindsay says this TJ has done all that basing TJ off of. TJ has done all that, y'all basing TJ off one. But it started last year in the stretch when we lost the last 5 games of the year. There was so many of those important games that he put up donuts across the board. And again, for the money he makes in big game situations for that period of time, to put zeros up, and it bled over into this year. This is where it's becoming a problem. If it would have been isolated to the end of last year, and it's kind of since those last 5 games to now. So it's making you wonder: is where is he at in his career? It's just making you wonder. Steeler Freak says, this boy toy 5108, we understand you need attention. Most foster home children do. Somber said, Flacco better than Lamar. Y'all should hey, Flacco got him there, didn't he? Now, granted, the defense was 150 times better when Flacco was there. You don't have Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, and come on. What do you even have comparable to them two guys? Nothing. Roquan Smith. What a joke. Tyrone, I agree. He needs to be better. 5 games left. TJ will turn it around. This is the list. And here's the thing with Phil and with Lindsay and everything. Let's see what he does from here on out. Let's see if we're right about this. Does he come out this weekend and make splash plays and cause turnovers and fumbles and recover them and pick them up and scoop and scores and interceptions and pick sixes and all the things that we've known that TJ to do? Let's watch now when it's down to it. This is where the rubber hits the road, guys. This is when it's the most important part of this season. TJ Watt shits the bed this week, then, let's see where he is down the stretch now in these important games. This is the playoffs for the Steelers. Tortilla, the Super Bowl will never be in Baltimore. Also, Maurice says, y'all let Buffalo run the same two play. Bro, you didn't beat Buffalo. You didn't beat anybody. Now you're okay. See, that's what I'm saying. He's funny. I do enjoy his humor. Who was Baltimore beat? They beat nobody. All right, they had a good running day against us. No two ways about it. But come on, Baltimore's been shitting the bed all year. Who the hell starts out 1-5? What a joke. Y'all are soft, and the team aren't bought into y'all 95 style. Y'all suck right now. Good luck next year. Next year, I'll see you in a couple of days. After we beat you, I want to see Monday. And I'm sure you won't show up. And again, I understand. I get it. I really do. Because after all the shit you talk and you lose to this team that is soft and hasn't been bought into since the 95 and blah, 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 I can understand why you wouldn't come back. But I, again, formally invite you as a friend. Please come back Monday. Lindsay says this, Tyrone, let him trade TJ and he could go somewhere else, like GP. And the same people will be saying the worst trade ever. Just like GP, I'm over it. And a very good point. Again, last night, the words that described the great GP during this game was disengaged, half-assed, uninterested in football, as he catches 5 balls in the entire game for 37 yards on 9 targets. And he was hey, did anybody see him jogging his routes? And I just want to mention Dallas is also 6-6-1. So if this was such a bad move, which again, he's great, sucks losing him, but we are also 6-6 being in the position that we're in, losing him, not having receivers and having all the problems that we're having. So again, a lot of the shit talking now, it's very unwarranted around the league because nobody's looking that fantastic. I'm going to be honest with you. Somber says, reminder, our records are the same. Exactly. Tyrone says facts. It's okay. TJ Watt will come back to life. And again, I want you to be right. Lindsay and Phil, I don't want to be complaining about the guy that's making the most money on the team. I expect them to be playing the best football on the team, right? That would make sense. Phil says, when 90 makes the quarterback step up, who gets the sack? You're right, absolutely, and those things are all considered. But we haven't been getting pressure on nobody. We didn't sack Josh Allen once, did we? What games have you been watching? Well, the ones that they haven't been doing anything, obviously. Lindsay says, you let the bum Bengals run all over you. How good are they? Absolutely. The Bengals, come on. Steeler freak, GP won it out of a shit offense. I can't blame him. Hey, what are you going to do? Can we blame him for that? But he gets into a good offense. Matter of fact, a really good offense. They're up there. And he still manages to be disengaged, uninterested, half-assed, catching 5 out of 9 balls for 37 yards in prime time and jogging his routes. I'm sorry. So, it be what it be, guys. Field of Steel says 51 nodded his head at 90 when asked about his play on the field. Who 51 is led by? 51 nodded at what? Watch, it's here on YouTube. Steeler Freak says Rodgers throwing numbers are worse than Pickett's. Yeah, you're right. They are worse. And also, the touchdowns aren't, but they are worse than Russell Wilson. 7-6. 7-6 incoming. Tyrone also says my friend talking shit to me right now too. So you're late. You were ready. You were 47 hours and 11 minutes from game time. You're ready to go. He says, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Corey says, Rodgers is definitely ass. Somber says, Corey says, okay, Maurice. So we have more chips, same ass defense, same record. The difference, your quarterback is a choke artist and will never win a Super Bowl. Stop tripping and quit the penis envy. And on over. Roger Tortilla says this. Rodgers will bounce back. And that's the thing, too. I mean, Rodgers has been up and down. He is what he is. But you know what he is sometimes? He's a quarterback that gets the ball in the end zone. He's the quarterback that when we're in the red zone, he finds guys in the end zone and we can score. And again, I think we win this football game. I think the Baltimore is it's 6-6 overrated. Oh, but they came back with beating all these bad teams, though. So you got to put them back on the you got to put them back on the list after being 1-5. You beat a bunch of shit teams. Now all of a sudden, come on, come on. Tyrone says no leg. Lamar be broken. He broken. End of day. Steelers would beat them 8 in a row. I'm not too worried about. I'm not worried about him either, dude. End of days. Welcome back to the board. Tyrone says Lamar like a pair of broken headphones. One day they work, others they don't. I like that. Yinzer Joe says, so it's Rodgers. It's Rodgers' fault that the wide receivers don't get open. No, it's definitely not. The wide receivers have been doing not a great job of getting open. I think we could all agree on that. Or running the right route for that matter. It's a lot of things, and I think we all know that. I think we do, and I think or that the defense can't stop picking their noses when you're supposed to be stopping. You're right. We have issues, dude. And when it's an overall issue, then a lot of times teams point to coaching, and we've beat that drum. So I'm not going to do it today because we are getting ready for the Ravens, and we are going to win this football game. And it's a lot of other things we could be talking about. Still DNA says I would trade all 12. Me too, bro. Listen, anybody on the board, read what Still DNA said. Call me crazy, but I would give up a lot of my trade capital for Joe Burrow. Yes, I know. The next thing that's going to come out is he's injury prone, which he is. But that guy, he's a franchise quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback, and guess what? He took Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, that's more than what that that guy from Baltimore did, right? How many Super Bowls has he been in compared to the Bengals? Anyway, besides the point, a real franchise quarterback. This is what you're looking for. So would I take all 12 of our picks for Joe Burrow per se? I don't know, but the point very well taken. If you're getting your guy, and you know you're getting your guy, give up what you got to give because it's going to be well worth it. Believe me. Your Dante Kents and your Corey Trices may not pan out, but if you put it toward one of them top quality quarterbacks, you have your cornerstone. Tortilla says we're like 3-4 since the Derpy incident. I know. Let me take a look here, guys. Let me see what else we got. I do got some things I want to talk about. And we also do have overs and unders and things like that today. So do hang tight, guys. A lot of things to get into today still as the show is where we are. We're rounding third, but there's still a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to go right here. How about this? No. How about that? No. A little comment from Terrell Suggs. You remember that ugly mother? Listen, they're sour. They really are in Baltimore. He's still over there complaining about Patrick Queen. This is what, and we're already ready to get rid of Patrick Queen. And he's talking about this. This is what Terrell Suggs says. He says, I still can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He's still unhappy. I'm still unhappy with the traitor, Patrick Queen, as he left Baltimore for Pittsburgh, is what Suggs says. I'm saying these guys are bitter. Do you give two shits about anybody that went to Baltimore? I don't. Never even crossed my mind. What else? I also have some other PQ things. Get this, guys. Last year in the playoffs, of course, we did lose that game. The Baltimore PQ, Queen is coming out and he's blaming a Baltimore restaurant for poisoning his food before the playoff game this past year. Patrick Queen says a restaurant poisoned his food. Remember, he was sick. He had some kind of issue going into that game. That's what he's saying. He said that he was poisoned by a restaurant in Baltimore. I thought that was funny. Interesting, at least, to say the least. The Steelers also, they plan to accelerate cornerback Asante Samuel's role, guys, after a solid debut. So expect to see some more Asante Samuel this week. Also, as I mentioned yesterday, if you are looking for Adam Thielen, he will be playing to some degree from what I'm reading. He is number 16. So be looking for that 22 on defense and number 16 on the offense if you're looking for your newer players this week, guys. But again, it's the Jekyll and Hyde with me, guys. Which football team shows up? And I got to be honest, I'm hoping it's the good one or the better one, at least. The team that's able to stay on the field. It's not 3 and outs all game. Let's see a couple things here. Ray Fittipaldo here in Pittsburgh, guys. He is giving it 30 to 35% chance Mike Tomlin returns if they go on to have a losing season. Ray Fittipaldo, the beat reporter here in Pittsburgh, wants to again, guys. He says he's giving Mike Tomlin 30 to 35% chance to return if he has a losing season. Yes, his contract isn't up, but they will be starting the negotiations for the next contract next year, as it is up in 27. So this can be worked out if they sit down and negotiate, and it's possible. So again, did the beat reporters always get it right? No. Are their opinions always great? No. But again, just interesting enough that he would say that he's giving roughly 30 to 35% chance of him returning if this team does not finish over 500. How about this? Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer made this comment this week. Jack Sawyer said the Steelers playbook is a lot less complex than the Ohio State playbook. Is that something that we should be concerned about? Is that just kind of where we're at? And is this what we are? You would think a playbook from any team would be more than a college, but again, very successful Ohio State. Maybe I'm reading this all wrong, but again, Jack Sawyer says that the Steelers playbook is a lot less complex than his college playbook. Thought that was also interesting as well. Big Ben expresses his desire to eventually become part owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd like him to become head coach, maybe some kind of offensive coach. But you know what? Maybe someday in the future, our man Big Ben, our franchise quarterback, a quarterback that actually won Super Bowls and all these other things, that may be in the cards one day for us. What else? As I said, we do got to get into the overs and unders. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything and missing anything here. Oh, that's right. And then and let me get into these. Let me get into the injury reports. I don't want to not do that. And real quick, as I'm doing that, just want to say it is the birthday of Charlie Batch today. One of the favorite, not one of the greatest, but one of the favorite Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. Of course, a longtime backup here from Steel Valley. As a matter of fact, his birthday is today, so do stop by any of his social media and wish him a happy birthday. It's always nice seeing Charlie. Who doesn't like Charlie Batch? Come on. And he was able to step in as a backup and win games consistently as a backup. Yeah, you got to love Charlie. Guys, this is what your injury report looks like for the week as we speak. Did not practice as of yesterday. Of course, this is as of yesterday. We got reports on the terrible board that Lamar practiced today. So that is that. I'm going to give you what I have to this point. Did not practice as of yesterday. Nose tackle Travis Jones. He is, for a personal reason, we don't know what that is. Limited practice is cornerback Nate Wiggins with his foot, and wide receiver Rashawn Bateman with his ankle, and Devontae Walker, or Devontae Walker, the wide receiver with his groin. He also was limited, and then full participation in practice for the Ravens. Ardarius Washington with his Achilles. One thing here it says he remains on the physically unable to perform. Then another one it says he practiced full. So whatever that means, take it as you will. For the Steelers yesterday, did not practice. This list is Calvin Anderson with his knee, Derek Harmon with his knee. Obviously, he's not playing. Dante Kent with his ankle knee. Jalen Ramsey with the rest yesterday. I think somebody mentioned Ramsey on the board earlier. Was because of rest yesterday, so nothing serious we need to worry about. Kyle Duggar also did not practice yesterday with his hand. Limited practice yesterday. Ben Sco with his shoulder was limited. Patrick Queen with his glute. And then Joey Porter Jr. with his elbow. We expect all those guys to be on the field on Sunday. And then full practice yesterday was Aaron Rodgers with his wrist, of course. DK Metcalf on a rest day. TJ with his toe. He got stepped on in the last game. And then also James Pierre with his concussion protocol. Those guys are all full participants at practice yesterday. But as I said, again, it has been updated since I have the latest information. And we did hear that what did I get wrong? I don't recall. I'm just trying to go back here real quick. Lamar did practice today, and that's what we did find out. So he didn't practice all the way to this point. The guy has not practiced for 2 weeks, basically. I think one day at the end of last week and then this day to this week. So maybe we get some of them same results that they got last Thursday night, the last time Baltimore played. Let me get back on the board here, guys. And then we're going to get into these overs and unders. I'm going to need your help today to do the overs and unders, so I can't wait. It's going to be interesting to see what we got. Let me grab a couple more of these messages just so I can find out where we're at and I don't get lost. I'm going to go right here. Just learning that dude really wants to be a Steeler fan in his heart of hearts. I agree. That's what I seen. That's what I seen. Just learning. I'm sorry. That's who's made that comment. Tyrone says, I agree, but I agree, Joe, but he has been missing throws and happy feet. We need to start of a season. We need the start of the season. A-Rod. Lindsay says we will trade 13 picks for Justin Jefferson. Bingo. Yeah, Tortilla Derp. You got to get them titties out. Now, he needs to break the mold, right? He needs to break the curse. The only thing that beats us is Derpy gets back on here and we all got to see his titties again. That's the only thing that fixes us. So do what you want with that, guys, please. That comment was by Bingo. Lindsay says, we do not care. McGriff says, I do want to say welcome to McGriff 412. It appears to be a Steeler name, Pittsburgh name at least. I do want to say with the 412. Let's see what he says, though. They are not beating the Ravens. They are not beating the Ravens, was what McGriff says. I do welcome you to the terrible board, McGriff. McGriff also says Joe Burrow is a China doll. Unfortunately, you're right. He has the skills. He's gonna do a lot of great things. Keeping him on the field is his biggest challenge. That's his biggest challenge, is staying on the field. And the days, he says, have you looked at the Ravens schedule? They will have 3. Exactly. The rest of we did pull it up a couple times this week. They don't have. It's a tough schedule. The Ravens certainly don't have a cakewalk, especially if they lose to us. Oh, believe me, if they lose to us, they're done. They have tough games. And again, then they face us again at Pittsburgh at the end of the year. Bingo says, yeah, it's kind of hard giving a flying fuck which shitty 6-6 team is better. Mark Malone, our wide receiver core, are gonna have us known as the white and the gold. You ain't shitting. And you know my theory on that. And it has nothing to do with the race. It just has to do with the ability. Who the fuck is the best, fastest, most athletic people on the field when you watch football? Just saying. Come on. It's common sense. Baltimore illiterate, Tortilla says. We want to smoke again. Tyrone. Tortilla says Baltimore is the only place in America where English is the second language. Control your vessel. I do want to say welcome to the board. Control your vessel. He says Lamar is not playing 100% aside from last year's. The Steelers' record in Baltimore is quite good. Absolutely. We don't fear Baltimore. We just come on. It's a big game. We know it every year. We respect Baltimore. Believe me. Pittsburgh fans don't fear that team. That's crazy. The Patriots I feared because you know what? For 20 years we just had no chance. I really stand by that. Steeler Freak says Toy Boy 5018 is gone, I guess. Field is still at Ryan. Imagine 80 and 22 in the backfield. Cowher would smash the NFL with those two big guys like them. Can you imagine? Baltimore's getting next to nothing done with what they have. Isn't that what they say about Tomlin? He's the best at getting nothing out of having the most. He's had the most without the saying I'm trying to come up with. Wouldn't Baltimore kind of fall in that category as well? MVP, multiple-time MVP. Derrick Henry, arguably, the best running back in the game. Talking about not getting it done with having, Phil the Steel. I'm sorry. Bingo says, careful, everyone. Peach is going to get excited with all the shit getting thrown around here. She's into it. Don't drag Peaches into this. If we got to look at Derpy's titty again, there's no way I even want to see Peaches. And the day says 4 years in a row now until Russell Wilson blew 2 games last year. 4 years in a row until right. You're right, dude. It was 8 games in a row. We beat them 8 games in a row. That's embarrassing for them, I would think. Should be. Cody, my man. What up, brother? Always great seeing the code man on the board. Cody says Mike Tomlin is the GOAT. Somber says he won't be back. Talking about little Joey, or what was his name? I forget it already. Maurice. Yinzer Joe says the Ravens are 3-7 in their last 10 games against the Steelers. Honestly, the Steelers have the Ravens in Lamar's number. We own them. They're a knockoff of the Steelers. They've always been. Since 1996. 30 years. They've been a knockoff of us. Just learning. Don't light a fire under the bearded dudes. Literally. Could cause a lot of problems. You light fires down there. Steeler Freak Toy Boy was fucking around on the wrong cat. Hey, guys, I got to give you this. See if the Steelers get together like we do here on the show. Come on. Nobody's going to beat them. See how, come on. Get each other's back out there, guys, and get the shit do what you got to do, right? Do what you got to do. Lindsay says, laugh my ass off. He's probably crying right now. He's probably crying on the drive home. Name that movie. Tyrone, he gone ran him off. He's driving. He's crying on the way home in the car. Control your vessel. In 15 years, Bill Cowher got us into the AFC Championship 6 times. In 19 years, Tomlin got us 3 with 2 Super Bowl appearances. He's run a once proud franchise into the abyss. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. The numbers are they're facts. And another thing that's disturbing, only what is it, 3 or 4 different years in Tomlin's 18 years has he won a playoff game. That's a lot of years that you didn't win playoff games in almost 20 seasons. I'm just saying, again, it's not a shit on Tomlin day. It's not that kind of day. This is getting ready for Baltimore. I acknowledge that. Miss Pittsburgh, I do want to say welcome back to the Terrible Board. Always great seeing Miss Pittsburgh. She says, good afternoon, everyone. Here we go. That's right, baby. You know what? And everybody's ready. We had a Raven clown that stopped in and got everybody all fired up. So now we're ready. Tyrone says, where's Cody? Shaking my head. Tyrone says, no Jamal. Hey, where's Jamal? And listen, make sure he does not forget to get them CBS pick'ems in. He did not get it in. Everybody else got it in for the game last night. Do not let Jamal miss out, guys. Remind him, whatever you got to do. I don't want him to miss out. And just because, he didn't get a game in or whatnot. Control your vessel. Bubby was a way better quarterback than O'Donnell. Bubby had an arm, dude. Say what you want about Bubby Brister. That dude had an arm. He had a cannon. Bingo says, wasn't Slash trying to blow dudes at Point Park? It was Shenley Park, but that was the rumor. Like trench coat sitting on a bench, the whole 9. I might miss it. No, that was the talk around town. I'll say that was the talk around town. Slash was fluid before it was cool. Bingo said, ooh. Somber says, yeah, it's all 90. No, nobody's saying that, bro. You know that. We need him to step up. We need him right now. That's all. Is it wrong for us saying that we need the guy? We acknowledge that he has the skills, man. Somber says, same shit we saw with George Pickens here. Feel the steal. That's fucking stupid. Expecting not. No, nobody's expecting him to do it all. They're expecting him to produce. That's all. Don't put up zeros in big games for consistent amounts of time. That's all. That's all. Control your vessel says GP is bipolar. Why would he be disinterested with Lamb out of prime time? That's what I'm saying, bro. This is what Dallas don't realize they got. This is why they're making fun of us. This is why they're calling us stupid. This is why they're saying that we got fleeced. And I always say, give it time, because that George Pickens will certainly show his colors. There's going to be a time the ball's bouncing around in play in a big game, and he's walking off the field because he's frustrated. Tyrone, we got to get a good wide receiver. We got to improve, bro. No two ways about it. Receiver. I mean, we everyone puts up their list of positions every day on the board, and none of them are wrong. We need a little bit of everything. We need to get younger. We got to really take advantage of this draft. This draft has got to be big. And being that it's in Pittsburgh, I got a good feeling about this one, guys. Lindsay says, I think George Pickens got frustrated last night. He was doing good with CD, but maybe he needs someone opposite. That's true. Once CD got hurt. Again, George Pickens, 5 catches on 9 targets, 37 yards, and terrible, terrible routes last night. Jogging. In big game situations. In big, it was go time. He was out there jogging. Come on. Bingo, I'm glad he's gone. Big piece of his current offense going to go in, and instead of stepping up, he throws a tantrum. Very, very tantrum. Yeah. Very susceptible to the tantrum. Bubby had a strong arm, but his consistency was good. O'Donnell had more superior stat line in a Pro Bowl and a Super Bowl. Bubby was maybe in the category of those other two. But he didn't win anything. The fact of the matter is, at least the other guys were getting to AFC Championship games. Yes, it was in the stale years of Chuck Noll. I do acknowledge that. But Bubby, I'd say he would be just below Neil and Cordell. Yinzer said wasn't good. Tyrone, I'm pulling up to the draft too. Nice, dude. Anybody coming to the draft? Throw it up on the board. I'm kind of curious who's coming to town. Steeler Freak is saying this. Folks are saying that wide receivers aren't getting open. They are. The quarterbacks aren't seeing or throwing the ball to them, or they missed a target. Corey says, I think we need to talk about trading out TJ's contract next year. He's playing at a subpar level for elite money. That's extent, and that's all. I feel, listen to Corey's saying. He's not being crazy. He's not being unrealistic. He's playing subpar football for elite money. You'd like to see better. That's all. That extension wasn't a good idea. 14 weeks, and I think we could say that now. Somber says Rodgers was brought in to be the one constant. He has not been that. I don't think anyone is saying it's all his fault, but he is a big chunk for sure. Tyrone says Corey, TJ Watt not going anywhere. Unfortunately, you're probably right. But again, if he performs and produces and does what he's supposed to do, nobody's going to have a problem with him. That's all. Just do what it is that you're supposed to. Coaches get paid a lot of money. Coach. Players get paid a lot of money. Make plays. It's not difficult. Again, guys, not rocket science. It's football. Control your vessel. This defense needs at least 4 turnovers to make up for their... you're right. Look at the Patriots. Yes, we did beat the Patriots. Yes, we did beat the Colts. But, man, we got, you don't want to call it luck, but this is where TJ would come in big, cause some of those big turnovers in these games. That's, where we were able to make up that difference early on. This is not a sustainable formula for a W. I agree, Control. Tyrone says, saves this franchise so long, LOL. 1 average year. He's fine, got time to turn it around. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, guys, as well. This team, if they turn it around, effing awesome. We're not standing here with our foot on TJ Watt's back, on all these players' backs, ready to kick them out the door. If you're not 6-6, we're not having these conversations. If we're finding ways to make plays, number 90, we're not having this conversation in important games. If we find what, we don't hate our team. We don't even hate our players. We just want them to perform better. That's all. Patrick Queen better get his head out of his head. You're right. He got to get his head out of his head and get it in the holes. Meet running backs. Get back and come on. Dante Ken is out for the rest of the season after suffering injury in practice on Wednesday. That's crazy because Somber, he just came back and he's already done for the season. So he's another one of these guys that you might as well let him go. Create the space and let's maybe start operating things a little differently. I don't know. Maybe you might see some advantages. Somber says, looks like we picked up another Trice. Right. John says, I think it's the quarterback's inability plus Tomlin's handcuffing the offense, not throwing to the middle is all on him. That's why GP wanted out. And those are good reasons. I would think if you're a receiver that wants to make plays, those are all reasons that would qualify. Bingo. I think Howard could be better than Burrow. Burrow had to leave OSU when he couldn't win the job. Howard came. You know what? He certainly took advantage at LSU, though. I agree with you, Bingo. But you got to say, he certainly took advantage when he went to LSU and was winning national championships. And I think it was one of the greatest national championship performances, as a matter of fact, by Joe Burrow. If I'm remembering right, I could be wrong. Howard came in and took it. Then went on an absolute tear. Tortilla, every restaurant in Baltimore is poison. The fuck, man. Hey, anytime that you're going there with the intention to eat something that has the same name as an STD, I just don't trust it. Believe me. If you're going there for crabs, if you're known for your crabs, Phyllis still says that Corey, what contract a Steeler for Watt's contract is a Steeler for life contract 91 many games. You're right. He's won many a games. He certainly has. I give him that respect. He has. Manuel Vasquez. I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. I'm glad to see a new name up here. Manuel says, I think we see Manuel one other time, actually. Manuel says, I hope the Steelers win it because they have a hard season. And I know God Almighty, God will help them accomplish this win because God look at struggles and will help them. And you know what? If anybody needs the help right now, it's these Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Manuel, I do want to say welcome. I want to say great to see you. And I do want to say I agree with you. Let's get a little help from the guy upstairs and, we'll be in good shape. Lindsay says this, I'll never eat in Baltimore. The thing is, I love seafood. So it's just me talking shit. Give me some crab legs and some lobster any day of the week, guys. But it is Baltimore week. So this week, nah. Fuck that STD food. Lindsay says rats probably everywhere. Right? Rats everywhere. Control Your Vessel says, I love Little Italy in Baltimore. Go right here to Deidre. I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. Deidre says they need to start Will. He is the man. And I agree, Deidre. If he doesn't play, if he doesn't see the field by the end of the year, I think it's a huge disservice to the team. Not only to the guy, but not getting a single look at him in game time action going into the draft, where we're expected to make a big move on quarterback, guys. I expect to see him at some point. Let's see if these games get any less interesting. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. Let's see if any of these games, get a little less important, maybe as the season runs out. Then we might get that look at him. But again, to place a guy that hasn't played it down and say that, and hope that he takes over and puts his team in a good spot. I think that's a little much to put on the kid. But again, I think that we definitely have to see him by time season's over. We have to. I think it's irresponsible if you don't. Just because, again, this draft is so big, and the big move coming up is the quarterback move. And again, we at least have to know what we got there. Somber says that's sad. LOL. Well, it's Tomlin. LOL. Mark is saying Somber. Somber says I'm losing a little by board. There it goes. 35%. Rooney Roll just saying bingo. Somber says, well, why Will was staying after with Thielen helping him learn checks and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's probably a great teammate. The kid wants to play. He's got the energy. And I like the Adam Thielen addition. I really do. Again, it could be a lot better. We could have had a lot better, but this is where we're at. This is what we have, and I like it. So we'll see how that plays out. Truth. Hey, what's up, Truth? Truth Long, my man. He says this. Lamar Jackson is at Ravens. Yes, he is at practice today. Again, he practiced at the very end of the week last week before their game. He was out all week this week with the ankle. I'm not not too worried about Lamar. Call me crazy. Control Your Vessel. I can't take another year of this guy. I'm to the point where I'm almost cheering against us. You're not the only one. I'm not there, but again, I know that you're not the only one. Manuel says this, so Lord be with the Steelers, amen. I'm only asking for a holy win and to get a trophy in our hands, to be the best New Year. It would certainly be the best New Year ever if that would happen. And I do appreciate your comments on the board, Manuel. And again, we're glad to have you. Stick around and please do always come back. Truth Thong says Big Ben, Bruce Arians, James Harrison, Ryan Clark all say Tallman is not a guy. I know. It's not looking good for the head coach, and that's why I'm kind of laying off today. And again, just really sticking with for the most part the narrative of the game this week, because the guy's taking a beating, and at this point, I think everybody knows that. I think he's on borrowed time at this point. People say, all the opinions you hear, oh, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to leave unless it's his own. He's not getting traded. He might be on borrowed time. Again, it might come down to them sitting down and renegotiating that contract, because again, the extension is coming up for the following year in 2026 for 2027. So it's not out of the question for something to be figured out this offseason. And again, however the season plays out might have a lot to do with that. Somber says Kyler Murray out for the rest of the season. Wow. Maybe Arizona might be looking for a quarterback as well. Lindsay says, what's his injury, Somber? Truth Thong says, thought Dante Kent was dead. He might as well be. I mean, with all due respect, of course. I feel the Steel is Teflon Don has any dignity and recognizes he's making the B&G look terrible. He will resign. Please leave Teflon Don. And a lot of Steeler Nation feels that way. They do feel. Somber says foot injury, not sure on the details. Gotcha on that. Murray. Control Your Vessel. Tomlin is a con man. He has admitted that he lies to the media on occasion. Kind of reminds you of a politician, huh? He has a way. He has a way. Truth Thong says we talking about practice. Somber just preparing for this now. Expect to see a lot of Chuck Clark Sunday. Zachary Smith. I wouldn't mind Chuck Clark. He drops some interceptions back there to safety. You want your safety to be able to hawk a ball. The ball's back there, hung up in the air. Just some things about him that I'd like to see better from. Somber, Porter and Ramsey practicing, but not in team drills. Tyrone, okay, they play. Lindsay says that is not good if Ramsey and Porter don't play. Clark is horrible. Trade TJ Watt, Cody is saying. Tyrone, they will play. Lindsay, Cody, shut the F up from Tyrone. Just learning says Patriots cheated. They did, but they did it better than everybody else, because here they are tied with us. And no one's going to question that in the future. Once 100 years goes away, people are just going to look at the numbers. You know, I don't know if a guy had, you know, from 100 years ago, you don't know. You just look at the numbers, and that's the fact of the matter. You know what I mean? Somber says, I sent a raven to Jamal. He'll make his picks next month. Cody says, I'll wipe my ass with Baltimore tissue paper. Tortilla, I hope you said Zay Flowers is Zay Flowers is who I was talking about. He's the one that I would worry about. I'm not really worried about Likely. Likely's a playmaker, but that little Zay Flowers, man, he gets open in the secondary. He's fast. He finds ways to get open. He finds the soft spots in the zone. He's tough. Just Learning says Last American Virgin movie crying on the way home. It's actually Friday, but that's a great guess. It was when Red, I think he got his chain stolen from Debo on Ice Cube's front porch when Craig and Smokey were sitting there, and he goes crying to the car and he drives away and he's gonna cry on the way home. I'm gonna try to go. So okay, awesome, dude. This guy's got to keep us posted, man. Tortilla says India might be cleaner than Baltimore. My God. Mark Malone, you know what would make this draft an epic Pittsburgh production? Trading Tomlin at the draft. Trading him en route to getting a better draft pick. Wouldn't that be something? Again, a lot of Pittsburgh fans would like that, and a lot of Pittsburgh fans may not, with a lot of a lot of Tomlin fans, despite everything that's going on. So that would be very interesting. Very, very interesting, Mark. Lindsay says, no, they would trade him right after for a fourth. Tortilla says they should have Big Ben announced our next quarterback. That'd be cool. That'd be cool as shit, actually. Very doable, especially here in town. Mark Malone, the city would throw a week-long party. Tyrone, I'm so hype. I appreciate that, brother. You're the man. Control your vessel. At Mark, I love the idea. F yeah. I'm wearing TJ Watt jersey. What did you go with last week? I think that you asked last week. Which jersey did you end up going with? That can be very vital in moving forward. I just want to say that. Phyllis Steele says, I'm not listening to Corey F. No, I'm appreciative for what Watt has done for the B&G. He's giving many winning. Absolutely. He certainly has. He certainly has. But just like winning Super Bowls, what have we done lately? And you even see the way I worded that. I don't want to say, what have you done lately, TJ? What have we done lately? We've won Super Bowls, which is good. TJ Watt's had great things in the past. Tyrone says, Sunday it's up. Tortilla says, Pittsburgh throws a Super Bowl parade for the draft. It's going to be a big draft. It really is. If anybody's coming to town from out of town, this is going to be huge. It really is. I don't even know how they're going to fit everybody downtown, because it's between the triangle, over the bridge, and over to the North Shore. And again, that's a spacey area, but for 500,000 people is what they're expecting. It's going to be tight, but it's going to be big. There are two ways about that. This is going to be a big one. Cody says Patrick Queen is the GOAT. Tyrone says the draft going to be cool for real. Bingo says more like a pride parade. Tortilla. Mark Malone, call down Myron Cope. Hey, we might be able to get Myron Cope. We have connections with the football gods. Phil the Steel, you were blaming the players when the coaching schemes and the coaches are the ones who are effing up. Did you play football? No schemes or no adjustments? I'm not sure who that was going to, but I did, and I do blame. It's all of it. We have a bad situation right now. There's a bad situation going on with our football team, and it's coaches, it's players, it's a lot. And again, I acknowledge that every day here on the show. Lindsay, Cody, your ass just trolls Jamal's talking points. You ain't shitting too, because he comes out of nowhere. He'll come out of left field with something totally against what Jamal would be saying. Tortilla, even if the fish, even the fish have guns in Baltimore. I heard that. Heard it's a rough neighborhood. Control your vessel. Cope would have had a heart attack watching this defense. Oi, can you imagine? Cody, crab legs are delicious. One of my favorite foods. If I had to name a favorite food, it would definitely be seafood. Would be up there. It sure would. Tyrone says Cody's a clump nugget. Also, Tortilla says Sharknado was real and it happened in Baltimore. Cody says some garlic Cajun. Man. Gosh darn clump nugget. Somber says that. Lindsay, I don't even know what that means. Tyrone, laughing my ass off. Mark Malone says the Junies will not negotiate his deal. Tyrone, me neither. Somber, I think it means a dingleberry. Tortilla, Baltimore is just a city of gas stations. Tyrone, I'm definitely going to Baltimore next year. Tyrone says, I want to talk my shit. Hell yeah, man. Lindsay says, City of Dirt, too. Laugh my ass off. I can't stand how they say 2 for 2. Cody says, bench Joey Porter. Trade Cody is what Tyrone is saying. Yinzer Joe says the Steelers need to keep their eyes open. Rashard Bateman might be an under-the-radar guy getting open. You're right. Rashard, you know what? He's dealing with some injuries himself. Again, they're just not playing good football. They're kind of beat up and everything too. This is winnable. Test Cody for PEDs. Keep Tomlin, trade TJs. What Cody's saying. Bench Austin and Smith. Guys, let's get into these overs and unders. That's right. It is time. It is time. I'm going to need your help on the terrible board today with this, guys. Overs and unders. Keys to the game. Keys to winning this game. And my prediction. Let's get into it, guys. Overs and unders. Here we go on the board. Do throw your opinions, your answers, and everything like that up. Yes, I agree. Tyrone. The Ravens are more banged up than we are, and he also says, "Let's get it, guys. Let's get into the overs and unders." We've waited long enough. Without further ado, here we go. Sunday afternoon, the Ravens at Baltimore. First over or under. Aaron Rodgers, guys, is he going to throw 1.5 touchdowns? 1.5 touchdowns thrown by Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. Over or under? Again, just all depends how you think this game is going to be. Is it going to be low scoring? Maybe, it all comes down to what you think. Over or under? Aaron Rodgers, 1.5 touchdowns thrown. Ravens defense isn't that great. Throw your answer up on the board. I'll continue on. Here's the one. Okay, we get Tyrone with the over on that. Listen to this. Here's an over and under for you guys. Mount Washington, Darnell Washington, 2.5 catches. I think this should be way over. Way over. If this guy touches the ball twice in this particular game coming up, you didn't do enough. You didn't game plan right. You didn't you didn't go through exhaust all your options of how you want to win a football game. Because if Darnell Washington doesn't get 2 catches or more, I think that again, you could have done better. You didn't do better. And maybe if you lose, you deserved it at that point, guys. 2.5 receptions for Darnell Washington. What do you guys think on the board? 2.5 receptions on the over and under. I'll continue along. Just go ahead and throw them up. As we were definitely certainly rounding third here. So it's the way we're going to do it today. Tyrone is saying over on that. Field of Steel is saying over under. Teflon Don punting it away instead of getting 3 points. Yeah. Some of them calls, I agree. Middle of the game. You got to get points. You got to get the points. You got to take the points, especially when they're at a premium. All right, Darnell Washington, 2.5 receptions. What about Roman Wilson? 1.5 reception. Mark Malone saying under on the Darnell. Roman Wilson, 1.5 catch. Little Roman. Does Roman Wilson get involved in the offense this week? How about Warren and Gainwell? 100 yards rushing combined. Do we take advantage of this defense and run the ball and stack some yards? Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, 100 yards rushing combined, over or under. Finally, on offensive side of the ball, Mark got an under on that. Chris Boswell, I do this one every week. Over on rushing for Somber. You know what? I think so too. They better have a strong day rushing. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting there scratching our heads at the end of the day, wondering what the hell happened. You got to be able to run the ball against this team, against this defense. No questions asked. Cody says, I got Rodgers throwing a touchdown to the Ravens, pick 6. Tyrone says over. And what about Boz? 2.5 field goals. I do the same. I don't change this. As a matter of fact, if you paid attention, this stays the same every single game. Chris Boswell, 2.5 field goals. Last week, as we scored 7 points total, it was an under. So it's not always a gimme. Over on the running backs for Mark Malone, getting the 100 yards. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball, guys. 1.5 turnovers caused. This could be a huge part of this football game. Is going to be dirty, ugly, low scoring, close? And turnovers are probably the team that makes the biggest turnover at the wrong time is probably going to lose this game. Defense, 1.5 turnovers caused. Over or under on that. Here's one that I've been bringing up every week too, and it's been unders every week. TJ Watt, guys, a half sack. Does he have a half sack? Will TJ Watt get a sack this weekend or no? That's a big question too. Again, the money that's sucked up mostly by one player. We need to get some kind of result. We need to get some kind of numbers on the board. We have to. Cody says this, Darnell will get one pass in the first quarter. Maybe that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what they've been doing, and I hate it. They didn't throw it to him until the fourth quarter last game or sometime late in the game, and we were already down, and you got to get that guy. If you have a guy that nobody could tackle, why in the hell would you not get him the ball? Again, doesn't make any sense to me. On the defensive side of the ball, what about Alex Highsmith? Does Alex Highsmith have a sack in him this week? Half sack for Alex Highsmith. Over or under? How about a defensive touchdown or special teams touchdown? You might need one of these maybe to win this game this week. A half on that. And then finally, guys, the most notorious over and under here on the show. It never changes. It never will. 1/2 of a devastating injury. 1/2 of a devastating injury, guys. A starter or any player for a long period of time. Over or under on that. Cody says this. He says, I haven't talked about Boz in weeks. It's weird. He's our top scorer. Mark Highsmith lucky to locate his own sack. Over for Ravens. All right, guys. This is the keys to winning this football game, in my opinion. The defense has to win up front. They have to win up front. Put 9 guys in the box if you have to. Make Lamar beat you with his arm. You got to win up front on defense. You have to. If you let anything even closely remote to happen to you, what happened against us last weekend against Buffalo, at 250 yards, come on. You're going to struggle. I'd put 9 guys in the box. Again, make Lamar beat me with his arm. That's just my opinion on that. My key is defense winning up front, shut down the run, make Lamar beat you is my number 2. And it's going to be, listen, it's going to be an ugly game. It's ugly when both of these teams are good. Both of these teams aren't so good. So again, you got to be the team that's just a little bit more ugly, but a little bit less ugly, if that makes sense. And those are my keys to winning this, guys. And I do have a prediction before we do get into the trivia question of the day, as we are starting to get to the end of the show, guys. My prediction for this football game, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning 24-21. 24-21, a 3-point win by the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. That is my prediction for the game this week, guys. I do say Steelers 24-21, Tyrone on the board 20-17. Throw some of your predictions up there as we do head into how well do you know your opponent? How well do you know your enemy? And this week, our opponent and our enemy is the Baltimore Ravens, guys. The shitbirds, the ratbirds, whatever you want to call them. This is, you know what, Cody? I was going to throw it in there, but I didn't. Cody says Joey Porter holding calls over under 1.5. I think that's always an over, and that's why I didn't throw it in. Phyllis still says Ratbirds 3, Steelers 2. Another great game under Teflon Dawn. Tortilla, Darnell. Dude, if Darnell has a big game, the Steelers win this football game. I have no question in my mind. Darnell Washington has a big game. The Steelers have a big game. They win. Somber says 24-10. Guys, before we do get started into this trivia of the day, I do want to say, go check out our website, guys, over at www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Lots of cool things over there. Mike does a lot of work. He has the Dum Yinzer thoughts. He has, on top of every show that we ever did, you could pull up. The links are over there as well. There's contact information. Even, hey, you want to get yourself a sharp t-shirt or anything for that matter that has this logo right next to me on it, you could find that as well over at the website at www.the2dumyinzers.com. www.the2dumyinzers.com. Let's get into the trivia question of the day. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Here it goes, guys. Everybody put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board. This is the question of the day. Here we go. What is the Ravens' longest winning streak against the Steelers? Oh, boy, this touches home after a lot of the conversations today. Maybe little terrier. What was his name? Marcel. No, Maurice. I wish he was here. Maybe he could learn something. Question of the day. What is the Ravens' longest winning streak against Steelers? I'm looking for amount of games. Tortilla saying 5. Cody says 6-21 Ravens, big Boswell week, kicking 258-yard field goals. Nice. Mark Malone, white receivers, maybe Blitzkrieg this weekend. 3. Steelers Freaks is saying 3. John saying 3. Tyrone is saying 3. What is the longest winning streak the Ravens ever had against Pittsburgh? They're at a 2 right now. They beat us the second game of the season last year, and they beat us in the playoffs. What's the longest streak the Ravens ever had against the Steelers as the rivalry turns 30 this year? Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. every day right here on the tube. All right, guys, how well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Question is, what is the Ravens' longest winning streak against the Steelers? Bingo says never. Guys, the answer is this. Question is, what is the Ravens' longest winning streak against Pittsburgh? 4. That's the most games they've ever won against us in a row. And it happened between 2014 to 2016. Those 4 games in a row were won, which is half of what we just had against them in through the beginning of last season. So Cody says 2. It is 4, guys. 4 from 2014 to 2016 is when that happened. 4. All right, guys, we're going to get ready to start wrapping it up. As it is about that time, I do want to say this, though. If you haven't had a chance, swing over and check out some of our social media work. We are on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Swing by, hit the follow button, and keep up with what the 2 Dum Yinzers are up to on a day-to-day basis. Also, if you haven't had a chance yet, hit the like button down below. Do that. Sub, if you will, share, or even comment. It all helps us out in algorithm-y type things, so we appreciate it greatly if you do. Get ready because it is the weekend, not only because of the Steeler game, but if you were going to get lit this weekend, guys, do go get yourself a case of the Duquesne Pilsner beer. Fantastic beer. We have it right here in the studio. As a matter of fact, I don't watch a game without having it here. The guys over at Duquesne Pilsner, they go out of their way to help us and promote us while they're doing their promotion, and we are forever grateful for that. So do check these guys out. If anything, go over to their social media and hit a like button. I'm sure it'll help them out and make them happy. And again, guys, it's made right here in Pittsburgh. Good beer. Duquesne Pilsner says it right on the can. Grab a Duke. Where are we at? A couple more messages, guys. I think we are going to wrap it up for today. I feel a lot better than I did when I started. Remember, I was complaining. I wasn't feeling well. I went to the chorus, and I was now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthier, and I'm feeling ready for the Ravens. And I don't feel as sick. As I said, I went to that chorus thing last night for the kids, and I felt sick. I felt everyone was sneezing all the time and coughing, and I felt something coming on. But talking to you guys always helps. It really does. Let me get a couple more of these messages, guys, and we will wrap things up, though. Ryan, I appreciate that, Tyrone. That's you, my man. You are the GOAT, bro. Always great seeing Tyrone and talking to Tyrone. Tortilla says it is for the Ravens. 2 is a pattern. It's not even a streak, is what Cody's saying. That's just a pattern. Tyrone, we love why. Here we go. Likewise, bro. Love all you guys. Steeler family is the best. You know, we all have our family, but the Steeler family is its own special thing. It really is. Feel the Steel says, cheers, Watt fans. See you on the flip-flop side. And Teflon Dawn sucks. Mark Malone, Miller, Thielen, Skoranek lined up in trips. Absolute Blitzkrieg 42 said, hut. Tyrone says, here we go, Steelers. Mark Malone follows it up, I do believe, with the same message. Oh, we get the audible. Cody says, sometimes you have to sit on your toilet, scroll on Instagram to get your mind right. You ain't shitting. Ryan is Cody is not. I do also want to say this, guys. Thank you so much. I do appreciate for everybody for coming and hanging out today and checking us out. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. I say this all the time because I mean this all the time. You truly do. Keep this thing going. We wouldn't do it without you. I want to say thank you, everybody on the board, as you guys are always keep things interesting here. Amazing. Absolutely thankful for you guys every day. And then also, if you're at home watching, listening, pods, buds, car, work, gym, whatever the case may be, doesn't matter. Thank you too, guys, as we're here getting ready for this Pittsburgh Steelers game against the Ravens, as we do every week, and I think we win this one. And I hope to see everybody back on Monday so we could really get into it, and maybe little Joey or whatever his name was, he stops back as well, and we could have a little bit of conversation with little Joey maybe on Monday. Other than that, guys, I do want to say thank you so much. I hope everybody has a safe weekend. Do your thing, stay safe. Just cut a message from the producer real quick on the bottom of my screen. Got you on that, brother. But again, guys, please do stay safe. 1 o'clock Sunday, game 14, week 14, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, 1 o'clock p.m., 6-6 and 6-6, guys. So again, something's got to give. The Steelers could be in good shape if they win. And I think they are going to win. As I said, Steelers 24, Ravens 21. Thank you so much, guys. A great week. I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly, honestly do. I hope everybody has the greatest weekend. I hope everybody stays safe, and I hope everybody gets to enjoy a Steeler game on Sunday afternoon, because I'm there for it. And again, I'll be there for it on Monday morning to get into that and so much more. Real quick, just catching this, Feel the Steel. These stupid-ass coaches better cash the check. You wrote with Maurice. I know, right? They're going to get us into some trouble with Maurice. CBS, the game is on CBS, guys, so it's going to be available. Hope everybody gets an opportunity to see. Get them towels out. Get your jerseys out. Get ready for the game, guys. It doesn't get bigger than this for our Steelers, and this is a totally winnable game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I say we win, and again, I can't wait to talk about it all on Monday. Thank you so much, guys. It was a great week. You guys were awesome. As always, go Steelers, and again, I'll see everybody at the usual time on Monday morning. For myself, for Vanilla, and the rest of the crew here and the two Dum Yinzers, everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Here we go, Steelers.